Hi everyone, welcome back to Our Hollywood. I'm Daniel.
I'm Kim.
Good morning. Well, I don't know.
Good morning.
Good morning to us.
Yeah.
Because it's so early. The birds are barely waking up.
The birds are literally still chirping.
It's literally like almost 11. But I feel like it's 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Well, I woke up early to go for a run because I was like, I need to wake up. Anyways, we have a really different. Have we done a rom-com episode before? No, right?
No, which is like so surprising to me because like I'm like a rom-com stan.
We've done like 6 horror episodes and we haven't done a single rom-com one, but we have a couple coming.
Also because I feel like people want to be intellectual when they're on the podcast and people don't view rom-coms as intellectual, but it can be. So.
As we will show today.
Yeah.
But before we get started, I just want to remind everyone to follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram is at our.hollywood. Our TikTok is at Our Hollywood. Our Hollywood on YouTube is where you can watch the video versions of our podcast. And then at Our Hollywood on Letterboxd, where we put all the movies that we watched each week to prepare in case you want to add, oh my God, what just happened? In case you want to add any to your watch list. There we go. Okay, so what did you watch this week?
Oh, well, good question.
Wait, I don't remember either. I think I watched something. Hold on. Back to Letterboxd. They literally should sponsor us.
No, literally. I think I watched like...
Oh my God, wait, I watched so much. I watched Old, Snake Eyes, and Jungle Cruise.
Oh, you watched Jungle Cruise? How's that?
Well, I would like to work for Disney at some point in the future.
Okay.
So I have no comment.
Then you might delete our entire...
Oh my God, podcast, all 30 episodes.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what I will say? I'll say that it feels like a movie that should have come out in like 2009.
Okay.
Like, I'm like, I can't believe this was made today. As in, like, it's like a hunting, what are they called? Like a treasure hunt movie. Like, it's like Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, they were trying to like recreate that style. I don't know how well it did. Also, Disney is so scared of saying the word gay. Like the brother, Emily Blunt's brother in the movie, he's like, "Oh, I love people that they don't think I should love," or something like that. I'm like, okay. Just say gay. But then nothing. It doesn't like add anything to them. Like he could have not been gay and not had that little conversation with Dwayne. Also, oh wait, no, that's a spoiler. I mean, does anyone care if I spoil Jungle Cruise? No. Okay, so like Dwayne Johnson's character is like, the plot twist is that like he's actually like a conquistador that's like been alive for like 400 years because the jungle trapped him. Okay, so like the villain, I'm not even kidding. The villains of the movies are the Nazis and the conquistadors.
There's Nazis in this movie?
Yes, but they don't have the Nazi symbolism or anything on it. Like they're just like German, but they don't ever say they're Nazis. It's very weird.
It is really weird.
But it's the guy who's like the villain in everything. He was like the villain in Game Night. That guy.
Yeah.
And so
he's working overtime.
No, he is. He's booked and busy. And so they're like one part of the villains, and then like the jungle, there's like a curse where like these conquistadors came and they tried to like steal this like magical crystal from the natives that were living there. And so the jungle like trapped them and turned them like into these things that like couldn't leave the jungle, but then the elements started. So each conquistador is like, there's one that's like honeybees, and then there's another one that's like snakes, and there's another one that's mud, and it's very weird because I'm like, the 4 elements are not bees, snakes, mud, and I don't know, and trees. But then anyway, the plot twist is that like, so Dwayne Johnson, like, it looks like he dies, and I was like, oh my God, that was so violent for a Disney movie. Like, he like falls, but like he hits like rocks and trees on the way down. I was like, oh my God. And so I was like, can't believe they killed him. And he was like, oh, just kidding. I'm like, I was part of the conquistadors. But then also he doesn't speak Spanish a single time in the entire movie. Well, the other ones are literally speaking Spanish to each other. And like in the flashbacks, he's like not speaking Spanish. He has like a really bad wig.
Oh.
It was so, I had fun though. My mom really liked it.
Okay.
So I think it's like
it's like a No Thoughts Head Empty.
Yeah, it's like a family movie.
Okay.
So like for that, I'll give it credit. Yeah. I don't have anything to say about Old. Didn't think it was as bad as TikTok made it sound.
Yeah.
I just think that like execution.
You know something I didn't know about M. Night Shyamalan movies? Okay, no, that's different.
Okay,
we'll get there.
I didn't know that.
But he fully funds his own movies.
Mm-hmm.
And
I believe that.
Yeah. And it's because like a lot of the things that I did like a whole spoiler review of Old, so I know exactly what happens. No, I don't want to.
Yeah, fine.
I think I'm fine just knowing the spoiler review.
It was directed really, really good. Like I was like, oh my God, this is like, if the movie hadn't gotten like trashed, like The directing is really cool because like there's some parts where
well,
it's
like
filmed,
in the trailer, like how the girl is pregnant and it was like she was the child first, and then it immediately dies the child.
Yeah.
That wouldn't happen if a studio made it. A studio would have been like,
true.
that's too much.
The whole movie was too much, honestly.
Yeah. That and then like I heard about like this one lady who had like a calcium deficiency.
No, stop.
And then like she literally turns into like the Scooby-Doo monsters, like they're like contorting.
It was so weird. And like I feel like it was a little bit ableist.
I saw a couple of TikToks
because there was this one part where this woman is having a seizure and like it was filmed as if it was like something scary, and I was like, I don't know if that's how we should be portraying people with seizures.
Yeah, and also children having sex and
they didn't show it, but it was still like icky.
Yeah,
because they were already like
they have the mindset of the age that they had. Like that's weird.
And the whole scene is gross because then he's like, I thought you had to do. Ugh, it just made me so uncomfortable.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about the morality of it, but I do.
That actor, what's his name?
Alex
How did they get him to be in this?
Well, it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
That's true.
You know,
it doesn't matter if it's good or bad.
I feel like anybody would do that because, like, anyways, what I'm trying to say is I think it's admirable that he does fund his own stuff. So, like, he has full creative control. So that's something to commend in light of not great things.
I will still watch all his movies.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people are with you on
they're
that.
fun. Like this, I don't think this was one of my favorites, but it was like I was still entertained.
But you can like critically think about what you're watching.
This one I think is a lot more thoughts. There's a little bit of thought, like where like Jungle Cruise was no thoughts and empty.
Yeah.
This one was like some thoughts.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. That's what some people are saying. They're like, okay, what am I supposed to get out of this? Yeah. Like, what moral?
I don't know. I guess the thing was that, like, appreciate life because it moves by quickly. But, like, then I don't know if that was the way to do it.
Yeah. Whatever. I guess we'll never know because we're not in his mind where he was.
But also, it was interesting because, like, so the point of Jungle Cruise is, like, they want this one flower that can cure anything. Mm-hmm. And then it, like, could save everyone. But, like, they only get one. And Emily Blunt at the end uses it to save Dwayne The Rock Johnson. But then, whatever, she gets another flower. And so I was like, that's stupid that she would like save one person when that flower could save like millions of people. Like it could cure so many things.
They're like love interests.
Right. But then and also watching them kiss was very weird. Anyway,
yeah, I know. I would never pair those two people together.
I was like, oh my God.
When I found out they were love interests, because I saw a clip of like Emily Blunt being like doing The Rock Johnson's not like a great kisser.
Like,
and he was standing right next to her. I was like, she's so bold.
She said that?
Yeah, basically.
Oh
yeah, she said that. And I was like, they kiss? Why did they have to be love interests? That's like, why does that need to be?
It's like about love. Okay, and I don't know. But then in old, it's like they sacrifice all these people to save more people. So it kind of was like a rebuttal to me because I was like, that's so stupid that she would like save that one leaf just to save that one person who like do they deserve saving? I don't know. But then in the other one, there was just like, well, look, they're suffering. And I was like, okay, whatever. But it was different things. And then I saw G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes, just because Henry Golding is in it. And honestly, don't know what was going on. I don't know anything about G.I. Joe. So the entire movie, I was so confused. And also, did you know there was like magic in G.I. Joe?
No.
Okay, there's this one part where they throw him to the pit. This is like 40 minutes in. It's only like guns and stuff so far. And then these 3 giant like Harry Potter sized snakes come out and start surrounding him. And I was like, what is going on? Also, I had fallen asleep right before. My brother told me I was snoring. But that wasn't anything about the movie. I just hadn't slept. Yeah. And then my brother woke me up. And then I see like 3 giant CGI snakes. And I was like, oh my God, what is going on? And then I was like entertained for the rest of it. And then there's like a magical rock that like blows people up. I don't know.
Maybe that's like a Snake Eyes thing because he's he's Asian. So
the Snake Eyes thing was supposed to be that like they roll the dice. But I was like, this feels like it has racist
about. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like when it originally came out. You know?
Yeah. Like the source material.
Yeah. Because it was like a kid's cartoon.
Yeah.
But everyone else in the theater was having a blast because I guess everyone knows G.I. Joe.
You were snoring in the theater? Yeah. I thought you were snoring like.
No. I was fully in the theater. I don't know. Everyone who like was a G.I. Joe stan was having a blast.
Yeah, my parents.
Right? Like everyone
My parents love that and they love the Fast. Like my parents are keeping those movies alive, Fast and the Furious.
And, like I didn't.
I don't think they've ever missed. Oh.
Did they watch the new one?
Well, my dad's not here.
Oh, are they gonna watch it?
So yeah.
That's kind of iconic.
Yeah, that's like their thing is Fast and the Furious.
Well, they have a lot of.
That's like a core memory of like my childhood. Is like going with like it was like a big deal like, that we went to go see Fast and the Furious.
So funny.
Well, my dad was like a car guy, so
okay, that's
it makes sense.
What does your mom like about them?
My mom loves action movies and horror movies.
That's
for like,
iconic.
yeah, we're very opposites of each other.
Yeah.
Like my mom will just be casually.
Wait, where did you get the
things.
rom-com gene from?
My grandma.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I watched Gossip Girl, and I'm only mentioning it because like, what the hell is going on?
What do you mean?
You know how like we hate okay, spoiler alerts, just like go like 3 minutes. Just
keep past the ad break because it's probably gonna be Gossip Girl for us.
You know how we hate in high school shows when there's teacher relationships with students? Yeah, it happened.
Already?
Yes, like dude. And it got resolved in the first in one episode. What teacher was it? It was the teacher that was like, "You guys should not be doing this."
Okay, it doesn't clarify. Wait, visually, what do they look like? Is it the blonde one?
No, it's the one. He's like ethnically vague, and he kind of looks like he's wearing eyeliner, but he's not.
With
Rafa with Max Wolf, obviously.
Who's Max Wolf?
The one that's like the bisexual male character who's drugged up.
He's drugged up.
Yeah, like it's a problem. But also, okay, so but his thing is like he's like drugged up because his parents. Not the breath. His parent. Well, it's just because it's kind of sad also because at home. At home, he has 2 dads.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I think one might be transitioning. I'm still not 100% sure because in this last episode, I thought that one of the dads was transitioning.
Okay.
But I think
like in the process of?
Yeah, or like trying to like figure out their sexuality. But I guess it's just like they want to be more flamboyant with how they dress and how they present.
Okay.
I don't know if it has anything
maybe like
to do with
gender fluid.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Because the only reason why I'm not sure anymore is because in this last episode, Aki, the shaved hair, blonde, or not pink hair guy, he referred to them as sir. So I was like, oh, okay, so maybe they're not. So maybe gender fluid.
Okay.
But the whole problem was like the dad was on like the version of Grindr, one of the other dad that wasn't like exploring their fluidity, and it was like, oh, they wish they were just like how they were before, which is like just a quote unquote regular gay man, I guess. I don't really know. So that's why Max Wolf is like wild and out on the drugs. But like it's kind of crazy the amount of drugs he has like on his person. Rich. I know, but it's like I think it's just shocking 17 years old.
Yeah, but I think it's shocking to us because we're like not like that.
Yeah.
But like for rich people, I feel like this is a very common thing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So like
it's still jarring. Like no matter how many times I watch the trope, it's still jarring.
Every time kids do drugs and like TV shows, I'm like, oh my god, where do they get this? But apparently everyone was, and I just didn't know. I was just not aware. I was here making my little YouTube videos and everyone was like doing coke.
Well, not in high school. I feel like it was like community colleges when people started doing coke.
We'll discuss after.
What? Tea.
Well, not even when I'm close with, but
also like I feel like all the character motivations are like getting confused.
Wait, who was the character that was like, oh, someone that's been there, or is that not yet? Did that not happen yet?
No.
Oh.
I don't think so because I didn't see any, or else I didn't notice.
They tweeted like, oh, tomorrow's episode has. Wait, when did the Gossip Girl come out?
Yesterday. I watched the new episode.
So it was supposed to be someone was in it. Watch it be like someone.
I don't think anybody was in it. The thing that happened was that they dressed up like the old OG characters.
Oh, maybe that's.
So
that feels like a cop out.
It is. It was just a way to get people to watch. Because.
Oh wait, the new characters dressed up like them for what reason?
It's like a Halloween episode.
Oh my god, I love when teen shows do Halloween episodes.
Yeah. It's like a whole thing. Also, I do like how they handled Gossip Girl because in this episode at the beginning. It's because now they do all the schools. They do the gossip for all the schools. And
wait, what do you mean?
They do the gossip for all the schools. Yeah, like they get tips for about all the schools. So it's like a lot of work, I guess. And
they're not even getting paid for this. Like, what's
this? They're just doing this for some moral. I don't know, whatever. I don't really know the motivations. And So at one of the schools, a kid brings a gun. Yeah. And it's like he doesn't do anything with it. It's like he's in a fight, and then his backpack drops and the gun like slides out, and everyone was like,
I can see the scene in my head. I don't
literally.
even need to watch it.
And I honestly I like how they handled Gossip Girl after that. They kind of like went dark for like basically the whole episode until the end.
Like the teachers were like not posting anything?
No, just Kate. Kate's the blonde girl. And she was like, I don't think we should be doing anything.
Everyone hates her on TikTok.
I mean, it's still valid. But I do like for the plot how they like brought it back. I don't know how to explain it. Basically, the whole thing was like, well, because they're having like the comments were open and people were like bullying the kid that brought the gun. Because they posted about him. Okay. Gossip Girl posted about him, and then people were like extra bullying him in the comments. So she was like, we're basically facilitating bullying going on. And like, we're teachers, like we shouldn't be like fostering that. Okay. And I'm like, okay, the moral line is still really confusing, but like, okay, Kate. And then at the end they because she like basically like deactivated the account. Okay. And then at the end she reactivates it, but then she doesn't allow comments because she's like, Gossip Girl should be the only one you're listening to anyways. Like, so she took all the power from Gossip Girl.
Such a like kind of like modern day storyline, like disabling of comments and like.
But it exactly. But I was like, their minds. I didn't even think about that.
I like it.
So I liked it.
It's very aware of the social times.
Yeah. So.
When Gossip Girl posts, does she post like a notes screenshot on Instagram?
No.
Where's the words?
So, what do you mean?
It's a caption?
Yeah. Sometimes they'll put like
or is it tweets?
Words. No, it's in the caption.
Why didn't they just do tweets? I feel like
because nobody our age is on Twitter.
That's true.
Everyone's on Instagram. Yeah. I still like the show. I still very much enjoy watching it. I'm just like. The character motivations I'm very confused on. The only one I really like is Aki. So
interesting.
It's the only one I really like right now.
Speaking of HBO Max teen shows, did you see that Bailey Madison got cast in the Pretty Little Liars reboot?
Yeah.
That's fun. She's the queen of teen shows.
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah, good for her. I'm still gonna watch it. Is she? I feel like she's everywhere.
I've never watched her in anything.
Are you serious? I've seen her in like 1,000 things.
But I feel like she's more on like
maybe like
spooky.
Oh, she definitely wasn't spooky, but she was Max for like a season of Wizards of Waverly Place.
Oh yeah. Okay, but that was like 10 years ago.
No, but like through the years, she's been in like spooky things. I think. Yeah. Maybe that's why you haven't seen. Yeah. She's like a scream queen.
Okay. Okay.
Like she's like that spooky. She's like a younger. I don't know. Anyway, fun. Gossip Girl is being interesting. At least I feel.
I still like they're doing well. Like it. I feel like.
It seems like people like it now.
Yeah.
People are watching it.
Really? Because I feel like that's why he tweeted.
Who tweeted?
The creator was like, there's going to be, because viewings were going down. That's why to like bring people back. They left. Yeah. It's fine. I don't care. I will continue to watch it. I'm just like, I'm trying to hold all of my judgments until the end. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like the reveal is going to be like the teachers don't want to do the Gossip Girl anymore, and then someone else is going to post as Gossip Girl.
Yeah, 100%.
And everyone's just going to think.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I feel. And then they're going to start posting about the teachers.
Yeah, like the teachers.
Literally, the second they showed the teachers were Gossip Girl, I was like, there's going to be a twist in the finale.
That's what I think I said that.
Oh, really?
I think I said that before.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
There's no way that the teachers are Gossip Girl for the whole show.
No, absolutely not. There's like literally no way. And then like hacking can be a thing. Like it's so easy to hack people's Instagrams, and if you, especially like that they acknowledge, especially when you're higher up in the world, like there's more connections. You can get people, you know, like
rich people can hire hackers.
Yeah, rich people are magic essentially, so they don't have the rules don't apply to them. So
as the show shows.
On that note,
anyways, so that was all for a little pre-show. We're gonna go to an ad break right now, and then we'll be right back with our guest and talk about being afraid of being single. Fine. Yeah. Okay, bye.
Welcome back from my ad break. Hopefully it's in the right place this time.
I was in the right. Okay, so what happened?
I haven't listened to the.
What happened is on Anchor, when I upload the episode and I split it to put the ad break, the time is wrong. So I have to go off of the time on like when I'm Final Cut, like when I'm still editing. Just go off of that time, ignore what Anchor says, and then it'll be in the right spot.
Okay.
Which is weird. I don't know. But
I'll check.
Thank you for telling me, because it's just been interrupting us this whole time.
You know what is, like, our podcast might be long, but it's perfect for a drive from San Diego to LA.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's the perfect time. Yeah. That's what I do. Because I go to LA, like, every other week.
Right.
So that's all I do is I catch up on the podcast on the way up and all the way down.
It's like the exact thing.
It really is. And it's so satisfying, too, once I get to my destination and we're at the end of the podcast. I'm like, it didn't feel like anything. So... life hack.
Oh my God, the way that we talk so long that you could literally get to Los Angeles.
I like it.
I think it's fine, yeah.
But anyway, like, I hate like when I'm in the middle, because I'll be listening to like celebrity podcasts and they're like 40 minutes and I have to go look on my phone to like click on another podcast and then I could die.
Almost crash,
I could die. So you won't die listening to our podcast.
Yeah.
I feel like your podcast, as a listener, it's pretty digestible, because I think like as a listener of just like podcasts in general, like I listen to like Pretty Basic or like the Try Guys podcast, and like 1 hour doesn't seem like enough. Like sometimes I'm like 1 hour passes by and I'm like, wow, that was like really fast. But like I don't know, I think 2 hours, like even though yours is 2 hours, it's a pretty good length in my opinion.
Okay, that's good to hear, because sometimes we talk too much.
Yeah, I feel like that too, because I listen to Pretty Basic. It's like I love that podcast, especially as somebody that like kind of does similar things to what they do on a very smaller level. But I'm like, I wish they gave more advice. I wish they talked about it more in depth and stuff. I mean, there's audiences for both.
That's true.
So
anyway, we're back with our guest now.
Thank you
Ashley,
for that business meeting.
The shoes that we just spoke. Ashley, how are you?
I'm doing good. I feel like today's kind of foggy, but doing well.
Yeah.
It was foggy as hell this morning.
It was so weird, because last night I was like, it's not hot today. I can breathe. And it was like weird. And I was like, oh my God, is tomorrow going to be cold? And then I woke up this morning to go for a run and it was like misty outside. I was like, that is not what I was expecting. It's San Diego. I don't know.
Climate change? Who knows?
Climate change. No, literally. So before we get into our topic, we're just going to ask Ashley a couple of questions so you guys can get to know her a little bit. And then we have a BuzzFeed quiz, which we literally forgot that we do.
And like that was like a good way to start it off.
It was. I don't know why we
I don't know
just
either.
Forgot. No thoughts on empty.
Yeah.
But Ashley, so what interests you in film and television, and what kind of made you want to go into this industry or like study this or whatever?
I think I've always been interested in it since I was a kid, but like coming from an immigrant family, like the steps into like the creative field is so much more scarier. So it wasn't until quarantine where like I took like a gap year from school that I realized I wanted to change my like career path and major into film. And I think like one thing that really helped me was actually your podcast, because I think like during like the pandemic and quarantine, it just like I feel like it was a really reflective time for all of us. And so I think it just made me realize like I really want to pursue this thing. Why not give it a go, because I don't want to like regret it in the future. So yeah, that's just kind of like a short story and how I got into film.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, like you said, like during quarantine, they were like thinking about their lives. Everyone was like, they had a lot of time to think. We were stuck inside. So I'm glad that we were able to do that for the podcast. Also, the way you guys met is so funny to me. Like, did she go up to you at the...
Oh, yeah.
That's
at the
kind of iconic.
flea market.
That's so fun. Because Kim's the app for people listening, if you don't like follow her on social media, at Kimber Yeet. She sells at like salt nets a lot. And so...
I'm a TikTok personality.
That's not what I said.
I know, but like that's how she found me.
TikTok personality?
Like TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know why I said it like that.
Yeah, I was like, she found me on TikTok. Like,
oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's how a lot of people find out that I sell, and then
the podcast.
It's like the pipeline
from TikTok to our Hollywood. Anyway, and then the topic that we're going to be talking about today, the fun little title is The Fear of Being Single. And we're going to be talking about common unrealistic storylines in rom-coms. So Ashley, what made you want to talk about this?
Okay, so I feel like specifically like our generation, like growing up in the early 2000s, I feel like that was the era of rom-coms. And so like I feel like growing up like seeing those movies or like watching those movies, it's kind of made our generation feel like the need to be in a relationship. And I think like one of the sections we'll touch on later is like coming of age, and I think that's like basically why a lot of us feel like we need to be in relationships earlier than we need to be. Like I feel like it's so not normalized for like us to like. Sorry, my thoughts are like everywhere.
No, it's okay.
I think like so many people start relationships when they're in high school or when they're in middle school when they're not really prepared. Because I think like what inspired me to do this topic was this TikTok I saw, and it was basically this girl saying how she was glad that she didn't get into a relationship when she was in high school because just seeing her friends being in like relationships, she saw how traumatic those were and how they brought that trauma through their future relationships. And so that's just kind of something that kind of sparked this interest in this topic because I think that can like translate into the media that we consume.
Yeah. I think it completely makes sense because like I think a lot of people I think it was weird because like go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I resonate with whoever made that TikTok because, like, I didn't date at all really in high school, but like my best friend in high school was like consistently in relationships, and I found myself being like, why do you keep on putting yourself through these things? And like it was like hard for me to see like my best friend like go through these see these guys like treat her so awful and like how I'm sure she didn't notice it at the time, but like from the outside, like being her close friend, like I saw her take things from past relationships into the next one and the next one, and it was just like, and I was just like, it made me not want to date. Like it kind of scared me out of dating, like seeing my bestie go through that. And I was just like, and like I talked about it with her recently. I was like, I think like I'm glad that you were my friend at that time because it showed me like what I didn't want. But it's funny now. Like we're fine. Like it's funny to like look back on it. But like when you're in the moment, it's not funny. Like it was like a very like soft point in like our friendship, and like it was like not cute. But you know,
that's so interesting because like you were saying, like I feel a lot of people like they start dating like super young. I remember when I was in elementary school, people were like quote unquote date. It wasn't real. Like it was just people just. They were like, this is what dating is, but it wasn't. They were just like,
oh, we're gonna hug.
Yeah. And I just like didn't care. And even through high school, like I didn't feel like the need to, like I really truly did not care.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why.
I had the opposite effect. Like when I was like in elementary school and middle school, I was like, I want a boyfriend because like I grew up because I grew up watching Rom-Coms.
I think that might have been it because I haven't seen any of these.
I was like a hopeless romantic until high school.
And now
high school, I was like, fuck this. I was like, why is everybody so weird?
That demon like went into me. It like swapped. Well, we Freaky Friday. That's so interesting. Yeah, because like I just didn't care. Like in high school, I was like, these people don't look like they're having fun. I'm having fun with my friends. Like I don't really care.
Yeah.
And then when I got to college, I was like, okay, let's try it. And then, but I'm glad that I waited because I was really dumb in like high school, and I just don't think the right choices would have been made. Yeah. If that makes sense.
I also want to add like one thing that I'm not sure because like. The reason I found that TikTok was through like another TikTok, like a Stitch and stuff, and I'm not sure if she said it, but like one thing that I also realized is like I feel like in high school that is like the peak when we're like the most insecure, when you're most self-aware of like how society like kind of hates like teenagers and stuff. And so I feel like how do we expect like teenagers in high school to love other people when they're already like insecure in themselves? Like the RuPaul quote, like how like you can't like how the hell can you love somebody else if you can't love yourself? Like I butchered that, but like yeah.
No, that makes sense because I definitely was not. I'm glad I didn't because I was not ready. Like just like I know I wasn't.
Yeah.
Like seeing like the different person I was like 4 years or oh my god, that was like 4 or 5 years ago. So like the person now, like I'm glad that person 5 years ago was not dating.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And so I'm glad for that.
Yeah.
But I do think the media that we consume like has a lot to do with it.
Well, yeah, I thought it was funny because like when in the middle of like researching this TikTok came up on my For You page, and it was like, at you, a 20-year-old virgin, never in a relationship, feeling bad about yourself, and it's basically like, just because you don't have those things doesn't mean you're worth any less.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's just how it is. And like the fact that like rom-coms do like add to that to make you feel bad, and we'll talk about that later, like make you feel bad that like if you're like 16 and you've never fucking sucked a dick, like you're you're like lesser than, which is like, it's like, why are we putting that much value into sexual things?
I wonder
because also like it also erases like asexuality. It's like so intersectional, like it's crazy, like and like
I wonder if, because when we were growing up, right, like this was a big thing, right? But I wonder if now things are different. I don't know. We'd have to ask. Like,
I was gonna talk about it a little later, like about like how like modern rom-coms are like, they're trickling. They're not the best, but like we're trickling into like new territory. Right. Anyways, let's do BuzzFeed quiz before we get too deep.
We're already like oh my god,
because it's interesting. I think because it really does have like an effect on how people date.
Yeah. Okay. The BuzzFeed quiz is called "Live in a Rom-Com" and will reveal the plot of your movie. Okay. So the first question is, good morning. What do you eat first? Okay, so the options are: I have a quick breakfast before going on a run. I make some eggs and coffee. I make pancakes. I grab brunch with my friends at my favorite coffee shop. Okay, first of all, eating before going on a run sounds really chaotic. I would throw up. I would literally throw up.
Yeah.
I can't eat before runs. I'm going to go with eggs and coffee.
Okay. What about you, Ashley?
I grabbed brunch with my friends at my favorite coffee shop.
I was gonna do that too, because ideally in my rom-com world, I'm like in a Carrie Bradshaw, like.
Oh right, I forgot that was the vibe. Okay,
you have to put yourself in that mindset.
You're right. I'm in a rom-com. Okay, off to work. What do you do? Oh my god. Okay, I'm a writer. I'm an artist. I'm a photographer. I'm a teacher. Okay, in my rom-com situation, I do not want to be a writer because I feel like that's too obvious. I want to be a teacher. No, I want to be a teacher rom-com.
Okay.
Really?
Like I'm literally a writer. I think that's why in this rom-com I don't want to be a writer.
Okay.
So in the rom-com I want to be a teacher because I do want to be a teacher at some point. Okay.
I'm gonna choose an artist because I feel like the artist is always paired with somebody that like doesn't appreciate art, and then they make them like appreciate the art by the end, and like I kind of love that fantasy.
I also chose that because I think like the first thing that came into mind was like, she's all that, like Delaney, like her relationship with the guy, but
forget the name of the guy. Freddie Prinze Jr.
Oh my god, King. It's time for your meet cute. What is it? We both grab the same book at the library. I push them out of the way of a car. I bump into them and drop my papers. We reach for the same cup of coffee. Oh my god, me cringing while reading those.
You go first, Ashley.
Yeah.
I did. We both grabbed the same book at the library just because I feel like the scene, like when they both like pick the book and they see each other through like the book.
So funny.
Yeah.
Through the shelf.
The shelf. I was like, what's the name? Yeah.
Kim.
I'm gonna do a bump into them and drop my papers.
Oh my god, I was gonna do that because I feel like it fits the teacher narrative.
Okay.
But to spice up my movie, I'm gonna say I push them out of the way of a car just to add some drama.
Some Twilight.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm also a vampire in this movie. Who do you fall in love with? My best friend, a stranger, my ex, my enemy. Oh my god.
This is hard.
I'm gonna do stranger.
Okay. Wait, where did you meet this person again?
I don't know. I bump into them and drop my papers. The stranger.
Okay.
I think some stranger.
Okay. Ashley?
I did best friend because it's like the best friends to lovers trope, like Zendaya and Tom Holland kind of thing. I feel like it's just super cute.
Okay. Again, I'm gonna spice up my movie. I'm gonna say my enemy. Like I saved them from the car.
To lovers.
So now they're like, oh, is there something
heart.
going on here? Okay. How do you get home from work?
Why would anybody choose my ex?
I don't know.
It's done. It's dead.
Yeah,
get out of here.
Someone would definitely choose that. That's why it's an option. How do you get home from work? The bus, my cute bike, I walk, car, train. Oh my god. I'm gonna say car, train. Okay. That's not a part of my narrative. It's car.
I'm gonna do I walk because I'm a struggling artist in New York City.
And you listen with like your headphones, but they're not AirPods, they're the strings. Yeah.
Me in real life, when I'm thrifting, I have like the oh my god. Anyways.
Ashley?
Car/train.
Yeah, I feel like I don't want that to be part of the thing in my story. Okay, what's your flaw? Oh my god.
How else would I bump into somebody with my papers?
That's true. It kind of fits your
my narrative.
Yeah. I dream too much. I get jealous. I'm too ambitious. I'm not that confident. Ooh. Okay. I dream too much. I get jealous.
I'm too ambitious.
Okay.
We'll talk about that trope later.
Right. I'm gonna do I dream too much. I feel like I'm getting Will Schuester vibes from my character now, so I'm kind of scared. But I'm still gonna go with I dream too much.
I also did that for the artist theme.
Oh yeah, that works. That works. What's your home like? My childhood home, a cute cottage in the countryside, an impossibly cute New York City apartment, a penthouse. Oh my god!
Obviously, a
New York City apartment. I feel like that's the rom-com trope. So I'm gonna pick that one too.
Like it's like kind of messy, but it's like messy clean.
And it has huge windows.
Yeah.
When oh my god! When Harry met Sally, when they have that apartment, I was like, hello, how could you afford that? Yeah. Ashley, which one did you pick?
I did a cute cottage out in the countryside just for something different. Like I know like Vincent Van Gogh, like
right.
Parents.
They're painting
living
outside.
A cottagecore fantasy.
Yeah.
Like a small town.
Yeah.
It's like it's like the mysterious stranger that moves into the small town, and oh my god,
we're having too much fun with this. What's your hobby? Painting, skating, writing, baking. Oh my god. Definitely. I don't know.
I'm gonna say baking.
Okay. I literally made a huge point about my character not being a writer.
Because that's how I apologize to my my like you know how like the climax when they like
I thought you meant an actual person.
No, when they break up and then like you have to apologize and mine will be like the cute little muffins or something. Because we baked muffins together before. Okay,
I added to my story. So I said before he's not a writer. They are a writer.
English
but they like
teacher.
Yeah. And they think they're not good at writing. They stopped writing, but then they write a poem or something.
And then your partner is like, oh, like you're actually so good.
Yeah.
I motivate you to like do it.
Us individually each writing a movie right now. Okay, Ashley, Ashley, what did you pick?
Painting,
Yeah. Stay with the artist. And then the last one, what vibe do you and your romantic interest give off? Secure and smitten, hot and passionate, cute and maybe even a little quirky, bittersweet and star-crossed. Ooh. I don't know.
You go, Ashley.
I want to do hot and passionate just to like spice it up a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel that with the paint, like art is like sensual sometimes.
Okay.
That's what I'm feeling in my head.
The paintball scene in 10 Things I Hate About You.
Okay.
That was a good kiss at the end. I don't think have you watched that movie?
No. I'm gonna do bittersweet and star-crossed because we don't get together in the end. Okay. It's like La La Land.
Okay.
Oh my god, I got my answer. Okay.
I'm gonna do secure and smitten, because that'll make like the breakup scene like even more deep. Okay.
I want to watch all these movies.
Okay.
They sound so good. Okay, Kim, read yours first.
Okay. Mine is Save the Date. You have a super cute ensemble rom-com.
Period.
Lots of intertwining stories and lots of laughs. Makes your movie an instant hit.
Fun. That's good.
That's fitting, I feel like.
Yeah.
I love an ensemble cast.
Okay, Ashley?
All-star cast. I got sunrises and sunsets. Your movie takes place in a small town with lots of betrayals and drama. It shows how friends can get you through breakups, love, and heartbreak.
I got that one too, and absolutely, I love a small town movie with betrayals and drama. If there's one thing I want from a small town movie, it's betrayals and drama.
All the town knowing your drama.
Yeah. It's like Big Little Lies, and they all know each other's business. And I'm like, how does this happen? I don't even know what my neighbors ate for like lunch for the past 2 years. So like, I don't know.
So actually, mine kind of leads into the ensemble rom-com, leads into the first movie we're going to talk about, which is He's Just Not That Into You.
Okay.
Which is literally the Avengers of rom-com.
Okay, that was such a fun. When Kim brought that, I was like, what is this?
I thought it was original.
Now.
Yeah. Because, okay, let's look at the cast. It has Ben Affleck, Jen Aniston. I'm going to read them off as couples. Jen Aniston, Ben Affleck, and then they have Jennifer Connelly with Bradley Cooper, but also Bradley Cooper cheats on Jennifer Connelly with Scarlett Johansson, and then Scarlett Johansson is kind of fucking with the guy from Entourage. I don't remember his name. He was like the bestie to Adrian Grenier. Oh my god, I'm so sorry to that man. But then he ends up with Drew Barrymore, who was best friends with Scarlett Johansson, and I'm missing somebody. Oh, and then Jennifer Goodwin, Miss Snow White.
She's in that movie?
Yeah, she's in that movie. She and her character is like god awful, but it's okay. And she ends up with Justin Long because they're like opposites of each other. So Jennifer is like, why doesn't anybody like me? Like, I'm having such a hard time like getting dates, and like, why do men's not like, literally the title? He's just yeah. No.
Is he a guy?
No, Justin Long is just kind of like the player guy. He's like talking to Jennifer Goodwin's character, and he's like, well, maybe he's just not that into you. Roll credits.
I feel like
that type
like,
of thing.
Even like a dating coach to her, because I feel like that's like one common trope. I noticed like throughout like some of the movies, like the guy, like specifically only the guy being the dating coach for the girl, and it's like never like reversed and stuff.
The fact that I named all the main characters, and I didn't even have to look at the thing is just so terrifying to me.
Oh, Busy Phillips. Is that
but she's not like
Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, I said Drew Barrymore. Busy Phillips wasn't. She's like a very minor character.
Okay.
But she's married to the writer of this movie.
In IRL?
Yes, IRL. Of course, IRL.
I thought you meant in the movie, and I don't know why that confused me.
So this movie is written by Mark Silverstein, Busy Phillips' husband, and Abby Cohn. They're kind of like a writer duo in rom-coms. They've also made Never Been Kissed, How to Be Single. They directed and wrote I Feel Pretty with Amy Schumer, and then they have other films like Valentine's Day, which is a very similar concept to He's Just Not Into You. Just not that into you. See, I had never watched this movie before this past week. I don't know why. But it was like always a movie growing up that like everybody was always talking about. I feel like it was like one of the rom-coms that everybody was like, it was like a big deal.
Which is so interesting because right now when you pulled up the cast, I saw the Rotten Tomatoes score and it's 54 critics and audiences.
Yeah.
But I thought everyone liked this movie.
That's what I thought too. But I honestly am a really big fan of those type of movies. Like literally the movie that I got, that it's like they all connect somehow. Mm-hmm. I always think those are so clever.
Was there a movie called Prom that was like that, or did I imagine that?
Yeah, there was like Disney. It's like He's Just Not Into You, Valentine's Day, and they had like New Year's Day as well.
Was it like a spinoff of Valentine's Day? Or was it literally just
it's just like they just pick random holidays and they all into it. But New Year's Day wasn't written by these people, and it was like more about like family and stuff like that. Okay. That was a really good movie. I love stories like that because I think it's because like in my head I'm like I could barely only focus like on a group of characters, like, and then having all of them like intersect and like do it seamlessly and within like 2 hours, like
iconic.
That's crazy to me. I think it's good. A lot of people hate on these movies, but I think I like them because at the end of the day, the people that do things wrong kind of get their comeuppance.
Okay.
AKA Bradley Cooper's character. I don't know. Have you watched this movie, Ashley?
Yes. When I saw it in the list, I watched it. And I like how in like the movie, like they show like different types of relationships. Like the Jennifer Goodwin character, like the hopeless romantic, like wanting to get a guy, like the love affair between like Bradley Cooper, Scarlett Johansson, and the wife. Like I love how they like showed like different perspectives and like different relationships, because like not every relationship is the same. Like every relationship is different between like each person's.
Yeah, I also thought it was interesting that like, okay, so Ben Affleck and Bradley Cooper's characters are like friends, and they basically go like opposite. They have like opposite storylines. So Ben Affleck character has been with Jennifer Aniston's character for like I think like 7 years, and they haven't gotten like engaged yet. And that's like their whole thing is like, she's like, I can't keep waiting for you. Like, why don't you want to marry me? And he's like, I just don't believe in marriage. And it was like, she was like, well, that's stupid. Like everybody says that. And then like we break up and then you go marry a 24-year-old, like in like 6 months. That was like her whole thing. And I was like, that's so true though. Like that is so true. And
if someone ever tells you they don't believe in marriage, red flag. But
then they break up, and then we have Bradley Cooper's character who got married to Jennifer Connelly's character, and they got married like super young, I guess. And then he feels like he's missed out on something. That's why he has an affair with Scarlett Johansson's character. And then they like have, once their shit's like fucked up, they like come back together and they're like talking. And then Bradley Cooper's character is kind of like, well, he's like kind of happy doing his affair thing because he's a shitty character.
Right.
And then Ben Affleck comes to the realization as he's telling you that, like, no, I just want to be with Jennifer Aniston's character. Like, that's who I want to be with. And then they end up together. And I kind of like that. Like, he shows up for her because her dad, like, has like a heart attack or something. And it's like all the families together at the house. And then all the husbands of like her sister and then other family members, they're like not helping her at all, or like they're not doing anything. Like they're just like watching football and like not caring. And she's like overwhelmed because like her and her dad have a really close relationship. And then she like, there's somebody making a ruckus in the kitchen, and she turns and it's Ben Affleck, and he's helping her like clean and stuff. And I was like, and basically it was just kind of like she was like, you're more of a husband to me, and we're not even married, than like the actual husbands of like the people that are married. And I thought that was really sweet. I was like, come on, making me like Ben Affleck. I do like Ben Affleck. Wait, I'm one of the minority people.
Kind of off topic, but did you see that he went like, okay, so people were saying, you know how like Matt Damon, like he had that whole controversy because he was like, I barely stopped saying the F word. And so and so people were saying like, oh, Ben Affleck looks like he says the F word. And then like 2 days ago, he was paparazzi'd with a shirt that said Love Wins.
Oh.
So funny. Or like Love is Love, and it's like a rainbow shirt. Kind of iconic.
King.
Yeah.
Why did people hate Ben Affleck?
I don't know. Did he do something?
I think like he cheated. Did he cheat on Jen Garner, or they broke up? No, he had like alcohol issues or something.
Yeah,
that's not his fault.
That's not a cancelable offense, I think.
I'm sure we're missing something. Let us know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But
we're like canceling Ben Affleck, and he like probably did something bad.
I loved Argo, guys. I loved Argo. Okay. I know that's like it's weird because I hate those type of movies. Like I hate like war movies, but I really liked Argo. But I think it's just because it had to do with like film and stuff, because they had to like pretend they were film crew. I'm sure that's how
that's probably what it was.
That's probably what it was. Anyways, like what you said, I like how it showed like the different types of relationships. And it's literally like the Avengers of rom-coms. Like you get literally every storyline that you could want, and also like it's satisfying at the end. It definitely plays into the tropes. I think that's why I didn't like Jennifer Goodwin's character a little bit, because like it kind of reminded me of how like I kind of used to be, and I was just like it just came off as, forgive me, desperate, and that was like kind of the thing. But I think, like as she got towards the end, I think it was because it was like when she went to the bar and she was like trying to like catch the guy that she originally went on the date with, and then Justin Long's character actually was like his really good friend, and he was like, he's not coming in tonight, like why do you need him? Did he say he was coming? And I was like, oh my god, the secondhand embarrassment is like throughout my entire body. So but like I don't know.
You know what? Okay, I feel like rom-coms, because I've only done like 2 on this list.
She was just on 100.
But yeah, they get there are some parts of rom-coms where I get such secondhand embarrassment that I literally am like, I don't know if I can. Like, yes, when Harry Met Sally, we'll get to that later. But there's this one scene where I texted Kim and I was like, I literally like had to look away from the TV and turn down the volume.
It's like the iconic scene.
Is it really? Is that iconic?
That's the scene of the movie.
I'm not on. I didn't know.
He knows nothing about rom-coms.
No, literally nothing. I'm like, hey, I watched this really underground movie called When Harry Met Sally. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah.
Like, the entire world has seen it.
But I think I wanted to like talk about, because How to Be Single is probably one of my favorite like modern rom-coms, and I thought it was interesting comparing that to like their other stuff. So like he's just not into versus like How to Be Single, where it's just How to Be Single is literally in the title. Like she breaks up with her ex in the beginning, and she's like having a hard time like going through life, because I think that is an interesting part of some people's experience, that like they're in these long-term relationships. You think you're going to marry them, and then like something happens and you break up and you're like, oh my God, how do I live my life without this person? Like I thought they were going to be my life forever, and like we got routines and blah blah blah. And she basically had to like have her coming of age moment again and being like, no, I can do things. And I think I just like it so much because it has like this stupid, it sounds so dumb when I'm going to explain it, but she like can't zip up her dress, and oh my God, Nicholas Braun is actually her,
Who is that?
the guy that, the himbo guy that I told you about.
Oh my God.
That guy, he's actually
the guy
like,
from Zola?
Yeah, the guy from Zola. He like helps her zip up her dress, and that's how it's always been, right? And she, after the breakup, she can't fucking zip up her dress.
Oh my God.
And then at the end, guess what? She can zip up her dress by herself.
That's
and
cool.
I just like that little symbolism, and I don't know why.
It's like so like blatant, but it works.
Yeah, I don't know why I liked it.
Not all symbolism needs to be hard to figure out.
Yeah, it's just one of my favorite ones, and I thought that was like interesting to like see how these writers kind of like over time they've kind of adapted to what story people needed at the time. So like Never Been Kissed, like that's very much different from like from How to Be Single and stuff like that. And I don't know, I feel like I saw like a video recently of people like shitting on these type of movies, but like I like them.
I think the thing is,
they're definitely idealized for sure.
Yeah, I wonder why people hate well, I it's because like for me, for example, like I don't watch rom-coms, but I have nothing against them.
Yeah,
like it's just like I just feel like I don't know. Well,
like what I said earlier, it's kind of hard. Like this was like a really hard topic for me, because I'm like, it's like, you know that there's issues with them, but you're like, but they're like a comfort movie.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And I feel like that's like the hardest part. Like this is like my thing growing up. Like I would always watch rom-coms with my grandma, and like that's why I kind of like turned into hopeless romantic type of situation. And I don't know when I became disillusioned. I don't know when like that happened, but like that happened. And I mean, I still love rom-coms, but it's like you're kind of supposed to, that's the thing that's harmful. It's like they're the type of movies that like you need to like turn off your brain and like just enjoy them how it is. But then but that's harmful because you internalize it, and then you're going to compare all of your relationships subconsciously or consciously to the experiences of these people that are like made up, you know?
That is interesting, because I know a lot of people who like they want things to happen to them, and they're like, oh, it didn't feel like, they're like, oh, I went on this date, but it didn't feel like a movie scene. It didn't feel like romantic. And I'm like, I don't know if it's just because I have never experienced anything like that, but I just feel like you're like, these things do not happen in real life.
Yeah.
But they can't. Like, that doesn't mean no one is romantic. Obviously, people are romantic. Yeah. But I'm saying like,
not people our age.
Oh.
And like, I feel like
me shut down.
Well, that's another thing, is like all of these movies that we're going to talk about, social media wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God,
dating apps are like basically not mentioned because it wasn't a thing. Like these people still have fucking flip phones and like had to call each other on landlines. Like,
I was gonna say, like,
different.
Watching those movies was so weird, just seeing the technology like back in the day, because like now it's just like we only have like our iPhones, but like I think in When Harry Met Sally, when they're like flipping through like the phone book for like the guys like numbers and stuff, I'm like, oh my God, like this is like old.
Yeah. That is interesting. Well, because I don't know, I'm not into all the rom-coms, but do we have a rom-com for the modern age that has to do with dating apps? I feel like there has to be one, but I just have no idea.
I'm sure but the fact that we can't think of it is like shows that it's not actually good. I'm sure there is, but like I think a good modern rom-com that's kind of like similar to How to Be Single.
Oh
yeah, The Right Swipe or something. Yeah,
but The Right Swipe.
Yeah, but it's like it's dumb as fuck. It's like high school as well. And like high schoolers technically aren't supposed to be on Tinder. So
well, yeah, no.
And yeah. Anyways, I guess like going into coming of age rom-coms, which is like I was talking to Daniel about this, and I was like, I think it's like interesting because it's like this is like kind of like the only experience we have like that we can like kind of relate to, because we're not in like our late 20s yet, where we can like relate to the later in life kind of rom-coms where it's like a little bit more, it's different. It's literally it's just different. So the first one is She's All That. It was written by Arlie Fleming and M. Night Shyamalan, but I looked it up because I was like, why did M. Night Shyamalan, like, why did we see a part of this? But apparently he just like did like finishing touches on it, and like kind of like just was like the last read, I guess, before. But Arlie Fleming is like the one that's like credited. Both are men. And so basically this is like it's like kind of an adaptation of Pygmalion and also Married for Later. So it's like this kind of like out of box character, and then there's like, it's like the thing, it's like the girl bet, oh, now you have to take out the girl, but you have to make her hot also and like make her desirable, or boy, I guess now with the.
Is this where the trope comes from?
Yeah, the
Pygmalion,
Pygmalion,
no idea.
right? Pygmalion, like My Fair Lady. It's like plays. All of these fucking rom-coms basically are based off of plays. And so yeah, basically try to make her hot, and then they actually fell in love, but then she finds out it was a bet, and then but they end up reconciling at the end. We know that storyline. So the thing with She's All That, like, how do we feel about these type of stories? Because I did a poll on my Instagram about like, do we like, and then I'm going to compare She's All That versus 10 Things I Hate About You, because they're like kind of similar storylines, but they're different at the same time. So I was like, I asked like people, I'm like, have we progressed as a society past like the need for these movies? By these movies, do you mean movies where like someone is like makeover? Yeah, makeover movies kind of.
I feel like these movies, like, well, I haven't seen 10 Things I Hate About You, but at least with She's All That, like when I was watching it, I feel like they're harmful if it's like the guy fixing up the girl, like the guy fixing up his plaything, like objectifying her, like Lainey, you need to look a certain way, like you need to look like you need to wear this red dress. Like I remember one line in the play that I did kind of like when they did the whole transformation, it was like the new but not improved Lainey, but even then it was like I just didn't like how he was the one like you need to be a certain way to like be popular or for the bet and stuff.
I get what you mean. Like that's like you like verbalize how I was feeling, because I was like, I don't even know how to verbalize it. Like I think it just doesn't sit well with me that it's like the guy doesn't sit right with your soul. Yeah, it doesn't. Like I'm just like, it just feels like a little off to me. And like I get like through the process he sees. Okay, so like I watched a video about
sorry. No, can I just like interrupt just like momentarily? One thing I realized, if the guy is fixing the girl, he's objectifying her, but if it's the girl fixing the guy, she's fixing him for the better good. That's just something I realized. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. And so I was like watching a video about like, it was about like Kat from 10 Things I Hate About You, and then it was talking about like the different tropes, and we'll talk a little bit about more when we get to like the proposal. But basically it was saying like the makeover scene is kind of being like, you can like fix on the outside, but it's like having their true personality come out to the forefront, and that's what it's actually about. But I'm like, you have to really think to like get like that when you're watching it as a kid and like as like an impressionable like youth. It's like you're only taking it kind of at face value, and like you're just taking like, oh, she was like kind of ugly and disheveled, and now she has a red dress on and she has cute little clips in her hair, and she gets the guy. I see. You know what I mean? Okay. I haven't seen this movie. I'm just from what I'm gathering. I think the main issue with it is that like they're making it seem like to be like wanted, desired. You have to change like physically, but like when she's being changed by a guy, which means like he's fixing or quote unquote fixing her by what the male gaze wants her to look like, which is not what people should be. And like when you're watching that as a young kid, obviously you're gonna be like, oh well, that's what I. And then at the end, She's All That, they like kind of were like, oh, she's still hot, but she can wear her glasses now. Oh my god! And it's like, what? And it's just like it's kind of like hard for me, because I'm like, I don't feel like we should be like looking that deep into this, but like also it's like at the same time it's like the last episode. I'm like, it's not that deep, but it is that deep. It is. Yeah. And yeah, you guys make it. So everybody said, hold on, I took a screenshot.
Let's say what the audience said.
So the audience said,
71% said no.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So 151 votes for no and 45 for yes, that we've like progressed past the need. So the difference between She's All That and 10 Things I Hate About You. So they're like different plays, right? So they're kind of similar on the outside, but when you think about like the endings, 10 Things I Hate About You, I feel like is very much more progressive / like age better because it comes from the play Taming of the Shrew.
Right.
So Taming of the Shrew on the surface level is the same as like kind of Pygmalion, My Fair Lady. But at the end, how you interpret it is like, basically Taming of the Shrew is like, she ends up marrying the guy, right? And then in the actual play, the girl ends up like teaching other women about how they like need to like be married because it's like it's Shakespearean. Right, so it's like, it's a little dated, but like, people are like, oh, so like, she just was claimed and like now she's like under like this entrancement of like typical marriage, but when they actually perform the play it's like kind of ironic, like she's like it's kind of like she's just playing it for like everybody else because the whole town thinks that she's like crazy and stuff, and now she's finally like quote unquote tamed, but in reality they're in like a very equal marriage and like they are very happy with each other, and she's just like playing this so like everybody thinks that like she's what's it called? She's like everybody else, but like in actuality, their relationship is very equal and like loving and genuine. And that's how I feel about 10 Things I Hate About You. I was like, okay, so it's like the same basic premise. He got bet. He's like, he's getting money to like take Kat on a date, but he doesn't actually change her at all. Like like he's just like, they're kind of like teaching each other a lesson. I saw like a Letterboxd review that, or a comment on the YouTube video that was like, actually, I think like Heath Ledger's character is like the shrew and she's taming him. Ooh. And I was like, oh, because he's kind of like misogynistic in a way. Like he like doesn't really care about girls. He doesn't care about like how high school is. But then he actually like falls for her and like likes who she is. Like he doesn't really do anything to like change her outer appearance, and like she's literally the same at the end. She just is a little bit softer, but I don't think she's still the same at heart. Like she still cares about the same things, and she just hasn't changed. Whereas like She's All That, she still has like the physical transformation. So I think that's where they differ. Is like they love Heath Ledger and Kat. I don't even remember his name. Patrick. Patrick, I think is his name in the movie. And like Kat, they actually love each other for who they are, and they like compliment each other. Okay. Whereas like She's All That, Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character changed Lainey. The way I can't remember the male characters at all. And it's like she still has the physical transformation. She just wears the glasses now, so we're just supposed to be like, oh, okay, so.
She has to see. That's not really. Yeah. I find it weird when movies use glasses as like the. Yeah. Oh, they're like, because like I just need to see. Like I literally cannot like function without glasses. So I don't know why it's seen as like she can still look good with glasses.
It's just like
they have stereotyped people with glasses to be nerdy.
Yeah. So I think that's like the biggest difference. So that's why I think like 10 Things I Hate About You is like, if you're gonna, I don't think you have to pick between one or the other, but like if you're like a very much like if you're thinking like they're the same, because I thought they were kind of the same, but then when I rewatched both of them, I was like, okay, no, it's different because of like the subject matter. But like in how it regards to like
how it affected us.
Yeah, how it affected us, I feel like I don't even know how it affected us.
Because this sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I feel like coming of age rom-coms plant the seed for our generation at a younger age to be like, oh, I need to be in a relationship in high school, and stuff. And so, that's just and
like fulfills this fantasy that like you're like the nerdy outcast person, and then this like popular person, like you guys being together, like that doesn't also really happen in real life because everyone kind of like stays within their social groups, like their cliques, I guess, like, and you kind of only date within like that subgroup of cliques, kind of.
I was gonna say like in She's All That, like I feel like at the end of the movie, like I'm still not rooting for them to be together. Cause like with the whole betrayal, like I feel like she like forgave him too quick. Like the things that like the shit that he did, like especially like with his other friend like trying to come in and like cause chaos, like I think that would be like too. If that happened to me, like, I feel like that'd be too traumatic for me and stuff. So I just, the ending, like
trust
I was
issues.
rooting for them. Trust issues. Yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like
that's another difference. That's another big difference from 10 Things I Hate About You. Like he's not friends with any of the people that he like is getting money from. So it's, but like you know, like how Freddie Prinze Jr. He's like kind of playing both sides.
Yeah.
Like Heath Ledger's character wasn't really doing that. It was always about like Kat and like it felt like more genuine. So like there are small differences, but they make the difference on like how they like affect you. So I watched She's All That when I was young. I didn't really watch 10 Things I Hate About You when I was young. I feel like I wish I did because Kat is a very like, yes, she's a white feminist. So there's issues within that. And that's kind of like addressed in the movie, like in the classroom scenes with the teacher being like, saying if you know you know like so she's a very white feminist character and like she's able to like say these things without actually having repercussions for her actions because she's a white female. So there are good things and bad things about it, but like when it comes to the rom-com portrayals of it, I feel like 10 Things I Hate About You is kind of like a better thing because she doesn't actually change.
Did you
She's still
internalize anything from She's All That when you saw it when you were younger? Like, do you think you did?
Yeah, 100%.
What part? Like
I have to like it's really like performing underneath the male gaze, and I know that there's like a lot of discourse about what the male gaze actually is and how people internalize it versus like the female gaze. Some people don't think the female's gaze exists, which is like a totally different topic, but it does like. It made you feel when you were younger because you're not getting all these like like
you don't understand the nuances.
Yeah, nuances. I was like, what the fuck is the word? Yeah, you don't understand the nuances behind it. You're just seeing like, oh, he gets girl and him end up together because she is pretty and feminine presenting.
Right.
And that's basically all I got from it. Because you're like, you're like 7 years old when you watch it. You don't have like critical thinking skills of like 7 years old. But like, you know how like when we say on this podcast where like you watch it when you're younger and you get something different and you watch it when you're older and you get something different, like the younger part I feel like is more crucial because it's like the formations, and then when you're watching when you're older, you're kind of dismantling those ideals. So okay, go ahead. I was gonna definitely forget that.
Okay, I think there was like a super good point. I think the last thing I was just gonna say with She's All That, like I kind of like I didn't watch 10 Things I Hate About You again, but like I like that like Heath's character like didn't have friends, because another thing I realized with She's All That, like his like I forgot the male like lead's name, but like another thing about the bet is like his friends needed to prove how she looked, and I feel like another thing that like is like being like I've seen like discussed on the internet is like a lot of like people say like a lot of guys date women that their male friends will approve of or like will think is hot and stuff. So that's just another thing I thought.
Interesting.
Yeah, that period. We can end it on that. And I think that's like weird. Like we don't really have like a conclusion to that. It's just like, but it's true. Like from the conversations I do hear, like I used to be friends with like these guys, and yes, the conversations were agonizing to listen to sometimes.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And the way that they like talked about women and like me sitting at the table, I was just like, I'm literally the only reason I'm friends with them is because my friend is hot. And that's the only reason we're coming around here. And that's the only reason why they like having you around, because, and like I was telling that girl, I was like, well, like at one point you have to think about it, all of them wanted to fuck you. And like, yeah, it might have been like quote unquote different times, but like, and does that not make you feel a little icky? I don't think I said that part to her, but in my head I was like, that's kind of icky. Like, I don't want to be friends with people that kind of view me as a prize and feel like they can like say all these really gross things about women in front of me because like now I'm one of the boys. Like that makes me feel a little odd, you know?
That is very odd.
I think that's why I like She's All That. It kind of feeds into that. Like, yeah, he actually fell in love with who she is, but presenting wise, his friends would still want to like be with her because now she's like physically attractive.
That is a little
I know. It makes me feel a little weird. So, anyways, there was like
Addison Rae reboot.
Yeah, the
That's
Addison.
concerning.
I mean,
the Addison Rae.
It's stupid. Like,
Okay.
I'm just glad that, I'm happy that Rachel Lee Cook is in it because I think she's a very underrated actress, and she's the one that's Lainey, and now she plays Addison Rae's mom in the story. But I just think it's just a kitschy thing. Like, it's not like there's not going to be any like, they're going to try to do something socially, but it's not going to land how they think it's going to land. I think the
problem is like the idea of gender flipping these characters sounds great if you didn't turn it into a thing where it's like you cast a TikTok star that's the only thing anyone's going to care about. And then the whole thing where like, I don't know.
It doesn't feel like they're actually trying to rewrite their wrongs. They're just trying to get money out of it.
Yeah. And you can tell from like the poster and stuff, I'm like, this doesn't feel genuine.
I mean, it starts off with her live streaming and trying to surprise her boyfriend, and her boyfriend's cheating on her. Like, she's going to be like a influencer. She's going to be an influencer in the thing. And like, he's going to teach her how to like live her life beyond influencing.
So it's still
prevent her from being canceled.
So it's still like turning the female character into a stereotype then, no?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like different because we haven't really like, I mean, I'm sure we have. I just haven't watched it. An influencer, like someone that's like too involved with social media and they haven't learned how to live life, and like he's gonna teach her that because he's like a farm boy or something.
I've definitely seen like movies where they have like an influencer character and the whole point is like, oh, they can't get off their phones. But I feel like that comes from such an adult perspective, like of people who aren't in this generation, and they're like, oh, that's the only thing influencers are.
They just can't get off their phone. Z.
Yeah, when in reality, I feel like there's so many actual issues with like influencer culture and all this that they're not nailing it by just being like, this girl can't stop taking selfies.
It's like, you're so close.
Yeah.
Like, you're so close, like, but you're not getting past the surface level of what it is, because there actually is very harmful things that like influencers, like people that are influencers have to do, but also they're not consulting influencers. And I know that sounds so weird and bizarre and very Black Mirror-y that like they have to like consult influencers, but like a lot of, especially not until like recently, influencers weren't really forthcoming about the mental struggles and like the actual struggles they go through, and like the weird like existential things that they like feel like for internet personality versus like their actual personality. So that could be a very I think there was a movie actually kind of recently. I mean, it's a little crazy because it's like the Andrew Garfield one, and I forget what it's called.
It's not out yet. I know what you're talking about.
It's not out yet?
No, the one where he's like
Jake Paul's in it.
Yeah. No, there's like a bunch of YouTubers in that one table scene.
Yeah, it's not out yet. In it. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that.
So like I feel like that's kind of like a sensationalized version of it, but I'm definitely don't want to watch it because I think it'll have like
the trailer looked really good.
Yeah, it's like the A24 version of like influence. Oh my god, Ingrid Goes West. Ingrid Goes West is a very good movie about influencers.
I cannot believe
it's about influencers.
That is it's one of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah,
Wanting Fame. That is a very good movie. Yes, it's on Hulu.
It is so good.
It is one of my favorite movies of all time.
The ending is like haunting.
Yeah, and it came out like a couple of years. I think it came out when I was like a junior.
Aubrey Plaza and Elizabeth Olsen are the stars. I feel like that's enough to get people to watch it.
Yeah, it's a very well done script.
Yeah,
and like it's not like too like it's definitely sensationalized, but it's not like too far
but
out of
it's
reach.
Like that's like the point. It's like it feels like it's like a dark comedy, if anything.
It is a dark comedy. Yeah. That's what it is. So I highly recommend that if you're like into like if you're like interested in like this influencer culture type of thing, but you like because there are harmful effects to it. I think Ingrid Goes West is a really good one.
Oh my god, I forgot that movie existed.
Dude, it came out. It's a little. It's like it's weird because it's kind of recent, but it was ahead of its time. Like I feel like if it came out now, because I feel like more people nowadays, especially because of like TikTok and stuff, like people know more about indie movies.
It's definitely going to be a cult classic, especially because of the cast.
100%.
That's the vibe I'm getting from
the people love Aubrey Plaza and Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah.
They are LGBTQ plus icons. Like they like I don't know, like do they know? Do people know about Ingrid Goes West? Every time, because Ingrid Goes West is like, you can always see it in my videos, and there's always like a couple comments about, oh my god, Ingrid Goes West. I'm like, so people know.
It's definitely like the Parks and Rec,
but not enough people know.
Yeah.
Not enough people
gone.
know. That's how I found about it, because I was in my Parks and Rec phase.
Literally,
and I was like up everybody's ass. I was like, okay, what is everybody doing?
Yeah.
Like, I need to see everything.
Because you're like, well, you want to support all of them. So I was like watching Good Girls. I was watching Ingrid Goes West. I was like watching everything.
Yeah. Paper Towns. I'm glad that you added this to it. So it's based off the book from John Green, and basically, I don't even know the character's
hit writer
names.
of The Fault in Our Stars.
Let me look up their names though.
Quentin is the Nat Wolff character.
And then Cara Delevingne's.
Oh, she's Margot. Quentin and Margot.
Okay.
So Quentin has lived across from Margot like for their like almost entire adolescence. She like moved in later than everybody else, and so he's always like idealized this girl because he always saw her like sneaking out and like living her life, but he was like kind of more of an introvert, and he kind of like made her out to be a manic pixie dream girl essentially. And then I don't know how they end up in the situation together. I think like just that one day he caught her at a time, and I think she was like trying to run away or something, and he was like, oh, let me come with you, and because he wanted to fulfill this manic pixie dream girl type of idea instead. And so basically they go on like this whole adventure, and he thinks that like she's in like they're starting to fall in love, but then at the end she's like, no, like what?
For some reason I thought this was about like him looking for her, and then she had like ran away. Is that what movie is that?
She does run away at some point. They do lose. She does run away. Okay. And he's trying to find her, and then he finds her. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And
part.
She's like, no.
And then she's like, I didn't want to be found. Like, why did you find me? Because she like leaves notes because she's the manic pixie dream girl. Right. But he thinks in his weird head that the notes are for him.
Okay, giving very much incel vibes. Not to say.
Yeah. Yes. It's like the teen version of 500 Days of Summer, kind of.
Oh.
You know, like that kind of energy. Like, it's like, oh, you're rooting for Quentin. You're rooting for, I forget Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, but you're rooting for these guys because, like, they're the main characters, right? Yeah. But then you're like, but she doesn't seem that into it. Like, like, I think you're just like kind of making up in your head, bestie. And like, that is a harmful thing to show young people.
I think, okay, so when we were doing research for this, because like we were trying to figure out how to like structure this episode, and I was like looking up like articles of like rom-com tropes and like harmful rom-com tropes, and one that was on a couple of them was like situations that are romanticized that if they happen in real life are like
stalker
terrifying and like should not be. Like the example they had was that one scene with I don't even know what movie it is, the one where he has the note cards.
Love Actually.
And they were
she was married. I didn't know. I've never watched Love Actually, but that's why he had the note card, because her husband was in the house.
That's not cute.
And that was his best friend, I think. I'm pretty sure.
That's not cute.
That's weird.
See, okay, that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of these movies have things where it's like when you're growing up, you're like, oh my God, that's so romantic. I want someone to do that for me. But like, if we're like actually looking at it in terms of reality, it's like, if, I don't know, it's just, I feel like also a lot of men like creepy men.
It like allows men to get away with the stuff because it's like, they're just trying to they're just trying to be romantic and because they love her so much. Like, no. Yeah. Read the room, babes. Like, normalize showing men how to read the room, because a lot of men don't know how to read the room. And it's
because these movies are written by men.
Yeah. And like, I mean, even like nowadays, like when men, not all men. Not all men. Obviously. Okay. Whatever. We get it. If you're offended, then maybe look in the mirror. Yeah. To our like 10% male audience. Yeah. But what was I gonna say? Like when men pursue you, like say at a bar or like a social situation, and you're like, no, I'm not into it, and they keep on trying to get at you, and then you have to block them, and then they somehow find you and harass you in another thing. It leads to scary real life shit.
Especially because that you just mentioned has happened to probably every single woman.
Yeah.
And like all you know, it's happened to all my friends, and like that's
literally
really scary.
One time I blocked this guy on like Instagram and something else, and then I forgot to block his phone number. Oh my God. And after I blocked him, he tried to call me. on my phone. And I'm like,
what did he say? Did you answer?
No, I didn't answer. Why would I answer? I blocked him on everything else. And I was like, I immediately blocked his number. And I was like, that's so weird. And we like met on a dating app, and I matched, he tried to like swipe on me on a dating app. It was like Hinge. So like on Hinge, you can like see everybody that likes you. And he still swiped right on me. Like, that is a little bit deranged, no?
That is definitely deranged.
Like, and that makes me feel, I mean, I'm glad nothing like escalated after that. I reported him to Hinge, and
as you should.
Yeah, I was like, this guy keeps on like trying, like he's being creepy. And like, I feel like if you show this to the wrong kid, and they're gonna identify with Quentin or Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, they're gonna identify with that because they're a straight guy. They're gonna identify with that and be like, okay, like they're gonna just see all like, because I feel like it's like majority of the plot is like them being a hopeless romantic, and like you're rooting for them, and then nobody really gets the end because the end is too quick.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
No, it does. They don't explain enough what her reaction is.
Yeah.
It's just like,
you're just kind of like, oh, she's a bitch. So how could she not like him? Because you're identifying with him the whole time. And then when she says, no, like, that's not what I wanted, you're like, then why did he do all that? And you're like, you villainize the girl. Like,
if you put the movie... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, especially since, like, at least with like Paper Towns or like 500 Days of Summer, you only see like the guy's perspective. Like, you don't see like the girl's inner monologue of like, oh, like I kind of didn't like when he did that. Like, you don't hear her thoughts or like how like she feels. And so I think that's also extremely harmful, because it like kind of what y'all are saying, like it normalizes like toxic relationships.
Yeah, and like dangerous behavior, and like literally like, I don't know. It normalizes dangerous behavior. And like what you were saying, like we only see the guy's point of view. Imagine the story from the girl's point of view. Like, I'm talking about like specifically Paper Towns, where like she wants to run away, she's not feeling safe, and then she like finally runs away, and then this guy like just shows up out of nowhere. Yeah. That literally sounds terrifying.
And he's like, I found you.
Yeah.
He's like all excited to see her. He basically has like the savior complex. Like, I came here to save you. And like, it's kind of like the princess and like, you know, like in Shrek, like how you're supposed to be, like he goes to like find Fiona and like she's in this. Yeah. He's saving her from
nothing.
In his head, he's saving her from like the world.
Right.
Essentially. Because he's the only one that could possibly understand her.
It would be really interesting. It would be interesting to see someone make a movie like this from the female perspective, where the male quote unquote love interest that you think at the beginning is going to be the love interest, but then as the movie goes on, you're like, oh, he's like a weirdo.
Promising young woman.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, that's literally Promising Young Woman.
Yeah. But I mean, okay. I agree.
I feel like it could be like a mix of like Promising Young Woman and Shiva Baby. I'm not sure if you all watched that one.
Oh,
the anxiety in like that movie, and then like it's like
yeah. But also like I feel like if it's done wrong, like the girl character could be like written as like an anxious, like you know, like true. They're too scared to live their own life type of thing. But that is a reality that women face. Going around their life. And like, I mean, there are girls like that have dyed hair and like are artsy, and they have to like deal with all these weirdos like trying to like manic pixie dream girl them.
Just weirdos. There's so many weirdos.
They like already, because for some reason because of like these type of movies, and like I guess there's a whole like Ramona Flowers, like those type of characters, like these guys that are watching the movies are only taking them at like their beauty level, and like that they're like mysterious. So like when they like see girls like that in real life, even though they might not even be remotely similar to Summer or Ramona, they have like different interests, and like they're because like these characters are like one dimensional because you're only seeing it from the guy's point of view. And so that's harmful when men watch it like and they meet these girls in real life, because they already have these set ideas of how they're going to be, and they put it onto that girl even though they don't know anything about that girl. Yeah. Does that make any sense?
It does, because
I was like, I don't know if I explained that perfectly at all.
No, it does, because there's a whole like subculture of like, I watched this video the other day. I don't remember the YouTube channel. It was the one girl we talked about in another episode where she was in like kind of looking into like the dark side of like YouTube, and there's this whole like subculture of like incel men who like talk about how like women don't want them, and like how women are like not appreciative of like good, quote unquote, good men. It's a whole thing where it's like, oh, I'm a good guy. I'm like, well, then why do you have to say it? Who are you trying to convince? Us or you? So it's just like, I don't know. That's the whole thing with these like this. I don't know, what do we call this trope? Well, so we're still in the coming of age rom-coms, but I think the whole like
manic pixie dream girl.
Yeah, it's just like it's from the male perspective.
Yeah,
and it should not
like it allows like misogynistic ideals to be put onto these girls that like literally are three-dimensional characters in like their own life, but you're not seeing it because you're only seeing it from the guy's perspective, and they're only putting these one-dimensional traits onto her. Yeah, and that is harmful. And like it does like idealize onto girls as well, like how girls interpret it is like, oh, I have to be like mysterious, like even that little, I know it's stupid and it's dumb, but like, you know how like that TikTok trend that's been going around and it has like that weird song and the girls are like in black and white and it's like, oh, I'm written by a male and like I'm the writer. Yes, they're like it's like that, like it's like we have to be like that, like, or like I'm at the coffee shop and like I have to pretend like you have to like be mysterious in the corner, like so the barista likes you or like the random stranger walks in, like that is like, it's funny because it's true, but like we shouldn't have to do that. You know,
or like the Olivia Rodrigo audio where it's like, maybe I'm not as interesting as the other one. And people are like, when this, you don't relate to this audio because, and then they say something. Yeah, it's like, well, everyone's interesting. Like,
exactly. Everyone has something. It's like it's deep, but it's not that deep.
It is. Yeah, literally every podcast ever. Anyway, so that was like coming of age rom-coms. There's probably
we had a lot more to say about that because it's like that's the only thing we
could relate to. We could relate to. But yeah, we could probably do an entire episode just of coming of age movies, but in terms of rom-coms, that's the issues that we sort of see with it. But then we also have another harmful rom-com trope, which is the quote-unquote uptight woman ending up with the guy. And you actually had
I changed it because...
Well, I think it's worth mentioning because, so like the original caption
I couldn't realize like why I changed it.
Kim had was like...
I was like, maybe I'm too harsh.
No. It was like the uptight woman ending up with like the slob guy. And like...
Because I have empathy for people.
No, and like,
sorry, that's why I changed it.
Like usually good, but like I feel like this happens in a lot of rom-coms, but like you never see it from like the other side, like flipped. And it's because like,
but it's weird because the movies that we talk about, the male, the boy and the girl are like, you spend a lot of time with both of them, so it kind of like tricks you into thinking like, oh, we're seeing both sides. That's why I picked these movies.
Okay, so go ahead and introduce the
so the first one is Ugly Truth. It's with Katherine Heigl and Gerard Butler, I think.
Gerard Butler?
Is it Gerard Butler? The Ugly Truth. Is it Gerard Butler?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Oh my god.
Men making feel
You know who I was
crazy.
thinking of? The guy from the band, My Chemical Romance. That's a different Gerard.
Oh, Gerard Way.
I was like, are you sure he's in this movie?
Gerard Butler. So basically, forget what Katherine Heigl. Okay. Katherine Heigl is a lovelorn TV producer who, despite a long and egregious search for the perfect mate, is hopelessly single. The battle of sexes heats up when her employers team up with Michael Chadway, who is an opinionated TV celebrity who plans to put Abby through the ringer to prove his own theories about what makes men and women tick. So basically, she's like a very successful TV producer, and then it's like enemies to lovers, kind of, but like in the worst possible way, right? Because he is the most misogynistic. It's like, who's the guy that? Oh my god, I forget. There's like YouTubers, like, you know, the male YouTubers, the guys that like all the guys watch, like. And they like say really harmful, shitty things about women. And,
like, the male YouTubers? Are you talking about the gamers? Like the gamers?
No, it's like the guys that like go on the street and they like talk to women.
That's
like
what I was talking about earlier. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, like those type of guys. It's like,
I was just calling them incels,
energy.
but there's definitely a name for them.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's what like Gerard. So it's Mike and Abby. So Mike is like that type of character, like super misogynistic, like the things that are coming out of his mouth. I'm like, how is he allowed to say this on TV? Like it's basically like men are better than women type of thing. And like women are only after pining over men, like very much heteronormative shit. And Abby is basically like, no. So it's kind of like a raunchier version of like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, which is one of my favorite rom-coms.
Ooh, okay.
So like basically they both have a point to prove. But then they end up actually falling in love. But I think I hate this one the most because Mike Chadway is his name. What an awful name. Is just like the epitome of like what's wrong with men.
Right.
And the fact I just hate like when like a very strong-minded, independent woman who's successful TV producer, because I identify with that, and they're gonna end up falling in love with this guy. And like I get like she changes some of his ideals too, and that's the whole thing, is like they change each other for the better. But like I couldn't imagine even giving that guy the time of day.
Right.
Yeah. Like I couldn't imagine that type, especially I think maybe because I'm looking at it through a 2021 lens, maybe, because I don't know how adults thought in the early 2000s, because we didn't have like social media and stuff like that, or like I don't know, like the conversations we're having today didn't happen in the 2000s. Is like what I'm trying to say. So I think like in the early 2000s, women had more like grace with those type of men, because like that's just like
how they were.
That's just how men were, quote unquote. But now we know, like,
stop it.
No, like we're not going to take that shit. Like we're not here to fix you. Whereas I feel like in the 2000s, it was like, oh, the girl has to fix the man because the man is in his bachelor ways, and it's up to the woman to make the man a husband, like type of weird thing. So I think that's why this movie has not aged well, like at all. Probably. Yeah. Like looking at it through like it has a 14% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think that's all you need to know. So I think, just it's one of those movies that did not age well. And like, I don't know what it is with Katherine Heigl. She goes through that trope a lot. Like in Knocked Up with Seth Rogen, she ends up getting pregnant with Seth Rogen's kid, and like he's like kind of a slob, and she has to like fix them type of thing. Yeah. I don't know why. And I think the reason why it's harmful is because it's putting these responsibilities onto women, that you're the one that's supposed to keep your man in line. And like, I think that's how it used to be as well. It's like you like the asshole guy, or like the guy that's like a little bit like misogynistic, a little bit mean. He's a little mean. Like he might be like ignoring me in class, but like I can change him. Like that weird fantasy in your head, you know, like you can change this guy. And I think I don't want to anymore.
I think interestingly enough, in like he's just not that into you. They kind of start the movie with like a scene between these kids in the park, and like this boy being really mean to the girl, and then like the girl goes to her mom and she's like, oh my god, that little boy was being mean to me, and she's like, oh, but that's because he likes you. And they're like, right. Well, why should like we normalize abuse as like liking someone? Like it's already implants in like girls' brains, like if he's mean to you, he likes you, like, which should not be the case. Like you like
and like that even is still to this day. Idea. That's literally to this day. Like I remember in high school, like I would be like like he's like teasing me or something. Like we're like, it's like that's how people flirt, is being mean to each other. How in high school? Like I feel like that happened a lot.
Oh, it's definitely a high school thing.
Yeah, but like
because people don't know how to flirt.
Yeah, and you have like you have not been in the real world yet at all. Yeah. I think that's the weird thing. Like once you get out of the high school mentality, like you're literally out of high school, and like you start like talking to people like normally, you're like, what kind of spell does like high school have over
You're literally in a bubble. Like you're literally in a bubble.
Yeah, and that bubble fucking pops. That like whatever you do after high school.
But like not for everyone though, because some people who like I know we've talked about this before, but like the people who like are still, I mean it depends, but like who are still like their heads are still stuck in high school, like you'll talk to them and be like,
oh, you have not changed at all. It's been 4 years and you're living the same person.
We're like completely different. And I'm talking to these people and I'm like, are you what did you do for the past 4 years? Yeah. That you're still in this kind of like mentality. It's so weird.
And I just like even like my friend, like I'll be like, I'm not really into the guy, like he's kind of mean, and they're like, oh no, like they make excuses for the guy for being mean. Like, I feel like that happens on a lot of girls, like, situations. Like, oh, no, like, he's just being flirty. Like, he's just playing, like, hard to get. I'm like, I don't want that. Like, I don't. Like, if he's not, like, if he's being mean to me now and I like him for that, what's going to stop him from doing that, like, when we're in a relationship? Like, I don't want that. I want to be treated nice and kind. And, like, I want to be the one that's, like, loved. Where I was, like, I feel like when you watch movies like this, it's, like, women are the ones that have to give all the love.
Yeah.
and like, oh, it's like, oh, he's only nice to you.
That's not.
No, I don't want my partner to only be nice to me.
Yeah, that's weird.
Like, I mean, yeah, there's like boundaries. Yeah, like there's boundaries with my friends and stuff, but like, I don't want you to bully my friends.
Yeah. No, like, if someone bullies your friend, that's like, stop it right there.
Yeah,
stop it right there. That's too much.
I don't know. It makes my head hurt, like thinking about that.
Yeah.
The next movie is The Proposal, which I genuinely really like this movie.
I think a lot of people. This is like a beloved.
This is the one that's like when she runs into him naked or something. Like, oh no, it's when she's like singing that song. It's like, so sweat drip down my balls. To the window, to the wall. You don't think you've ever seen this movie.
Nope.
Yeah, Daniel makes me feel crazy sometimes.
It's because
he'll like his face is too.
I have no context, and so Kim was like literally just what Kim just said with no context. She's like, oh, she runs into him naked.
That's an iconic scene though. Like she's literally like, naked, like singing the song in her room, and then she like. So the whole thing is like she takes him as a date, right? She takes him as a date to a wedding or something. Yeah, like, she pretends like fiancés or something.
Basically, like I think like she's like a really Sandra Bullock's character is like a really like she's a publisher or like she's like a chief editor, and like Ryan Reynolds' character is like her assistant, and then she went on like this trip where she didn't get a visa, so she is being deported, and so she forces like Ryan Reynolds' character to be her fiance to prevent her from being deported, and like the what's like the office like the deportation officer is like in the next 4 days I'm going to interview all of your family members, all your friends, see if you all really know each other. And so that's why she goes with Ryan Reynolds' character to his grandma's birthday. So yeah, that's kind of like the plot. And then like
you described that perfectly. I just looked up like the synopsis, and that's basically what it is. I forgot like the semantics of it, but like I just remember like Ryan Reynolds is like her assistant, but then they actually like start falling like so it's like when I was watching this video, it's like they fall into 3 tropes. So it's like I'm going to compare it to Miranda Priestley because she's like the example of the first one. So Miranda Priestley, if you watch Devil Wears Prada, like she chooses her career over love, and it feels a little sad because you're like, oh, like I don't know what kind of, if you haven't watched Devil Wears Prada, like you just kind of feel bad for her in a way, and it makes it feel like she's losing out on a part of her life because she doesn't have her husband anymore, which that's maybe that's just what she wanted, you know, like in real life. Definitely how the movie paints is like she's a little sad, but and then Proposal with Sandra Bullock's character, what's her name? I don't remember. Why does she not come up?
Betty White is listed before Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, Sandra Bullock is not even on the front. Anyways, so Sandra Bullock's character, so she chooses love.
Margaret.
Over so she chooses love over the career. So like, she's like this hard, top of the line producer. What's it called?
Editor?
Writer?
Publisher? Something like that. Yeah. And then she falls in love with the guy, and it's like it's kind of like a fake out because sometimes in these storylines like they'll make it a promotion or they're still successful in their career, but now they have a love at the same time, so it makes it feel like what I'm trying to say is like it makes it feel like, oh, she was incomplete, like she needed the love to like complete her, which like sometimes people just want to focus on the career. That's just like their path, and it doesn't mean like one is better than over. It doesn't mean like she's less of a person because she doesn't have love, but that's like kind of how the ending makes it seem. That like, oh, now she's finally a complete human and like a nice person because now she has love. That's the thing that changed.
I will say one stereotype that one stereotype that I do really dislike about like rom-coms, which kind of ties into like the title, like fear of being single, is like the stereotype of single people, especially like if you're single like in your 30s or 40s. Like I feel like in these movies like they stereotype single people in that age, like if you're not in a relationship you're like basically like a loser, like you're not successful. And like I feel like, but what does that say about people who are actually single in their 30s? And I feel like a lot of people, like kind of what you said, like they choose that, like they're already content being single, like they're already content like with their platonic relationships, with their familiar relationships, that they don't need a romantic relationship to fulfill like that like love aspect. So yeah, that's one thing I dislike. Like if you're single, like you're a loser, which like should not be the case.
Yeah.
Like
it does make you feel lesser than. Oh, and then the last one was like kind of the balance, like, and that's 10 things I hate about you. Like she has the love, but she's still like, it doesn't mean like it's like the love is just like a plus one. Like it's just like, but she's still the same and she still has like the same beliefs and she's still gonna carry on her normal life. Just now she just happens to have a boyfriend that like, and they complement each other. So that's like the kind of ideal standard I think we should all aim towards. But I do think that's interesting because I still like, yes, I'm content with how I am and like I don't really feel like I need a boyfriend, but like in the back of my head, because I was like born where I grew up watching rom-coms, like I'm like, but I do feel like I want a relationship like really bad, and it kind of makes me like, even though it's like a weird battle in my head, I'm like, I'm content, but also like I feel like I should be dating at least, and I'm not even dating, and like does that make me like not, especially when you have like your friend, like now we're like post grad and like one of my friends is getting married, one of my friends is like
having children,
and like moving in with her boyfriend, and one of them just got in a really good relationship where the guy treats her really well, and I'm like sitting here like, all right, like I'm like trying to hold the like, I'm like trying to hold it down. I'm like, yeah, I'm happy being single, and I'm like, but like I want a boyfriend at the same time, like, and it's like weird because both of those realities can exist, and I feel like that's something that you don't get in movies because it's kind of hard to like portray that. Where that's why we need more of like the balancing, like this person, even if that relationship doesn't work out, this person is still going to be happy and still going to live like a good life. They're not going to feel like they missed out on that person. And I feel like we need more of those, because like those realities can exist. Like I can be happy being single, but still like want to date and still be kind of sad that like I don't have dating experience like my friends do and stuff, like, and it doesn't mean, but I can like still feel sad but not feel like it's like a reflection of myself and my self-worth. If that makes any sense.
I feel like this is some, oh sorry, go ahead.
Just kind of random, kind of going back to the coming of age rom-coms, something like, well, it's not a rom-com, but like something that I wish more often happens in like teen like movies, like Disney movies, is like there's more characters that are single. Because like, for example, like High School Musical, the series, like I feel like all those characters are dating, but I wish there was just like more people that are single, because sometimes not all like friend groups are dating, and it also like makes kids think like, oh, like going back to like I need to be in a relationship in high school, you know.
Like all the side characters have to be booed up too.
Okay, now that you mention it, you know who's I feel like a good example of this, even though they kind of tried like making her not, but like Sharpay in High School Musical, I feel like yes, there was the Zeke like subplot, but still it was so clear throughout all three movies that she wanted to go to Broadway, that she wanted to
that's a good point.
And even when she got her spin-off, yes, there was a love interest, but the whole point of the movie was Sharpay's making it to Broadway. I literally didn't even realize that until you said High School Musical.
I didn't realize that either. Like Sharpay was like the only one standing,
and she was like made as the villain though. So anyways, I don't know.
Let's unpack that. What the heck? Whoa. But it does just perpetuate this thing like, oh, like if she like prioritizes this career, she's not worthy of love, or like she doesn't feel like she can, like she had, like it's just weird that it's perpetuating this idea that you have to pick one or the other. Like both of the like Miranda Priestley and then the proposal lady. Like I just don't like that reality at all, because you can't have both, and there's a lot of people that do have both, and I feel like also like, I mean, of course it's like for the plot, like all the drama and stuff, and like there definitely is drama in every relationship, not drama, but like issues in every relationship, but like sometimes I feel like it's just too much. And like also like when you're in the relationship, you're comparing your experiences to like rom-coms, which is weird because it's like those are fictional people, like I don't know, it just makes you feel compared. I don't know, it's like, where do you draw the line? I think it's just like people have to remind themselves to be like, I can't compare myself to like rom-coms or romantic movies, because that's not a reality situation. Like just taking your relationship how it is, like at face value, and like not putting any like what's it called, expectations onto it, I guess. And like just, if you love that person, you love that person, and you're gonna make it work. And if you don't feel like you can make it work anymore, then break up and let that.
And that's fine.
That's fine. And that's
not the
how.
end of the world.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's the thing in the rom-coms and stuff. It's like when they do break up or when they do have this big argument, it's like, no, they have to be together. And it's like, they don't have to be together.
It's like fine.
They could just end it.
Yeah, and that would be fine.
Yeah. And then the next section is men and women can't be friends. Oh my gosh. This is a very one that's like, it kind of irritates the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize how big of an impact that When Harry Met Sally had. Because
they literally fully say it. Like he fully says it. It's like a point and like a returning.
That is like the whole point.
Yeah.
And I was reading something. I was like, it's weird because he says this thing and it's like, well, he proved his point. Like that men and women can't be friends. Yeah. And I'm just like, I think I said this like last episode. I'm like, I think we just need to see way more like long-term friends that are platonic.
Yeah.
And they have never wanted to be together. Because,
and also that are like, because I feel like a lot of times it's like the girl, but then her male best friend is gay. I'm like, and it's like, so there's no way he could ever possibly be into her, right?
Yeah.
Like, but I know so many like straight male and like that have like straight female friends or whatever that are just not interested in each other, and it's just never portrayed. And
then like sometimes because of like movies like When Harry Met Sally, Maid of Honor, My Best Friend's Wedding, that's why I think sometimes like it has an impact on people when they watch these type of things, when like they're being a little bit, your boyfriend or something is being a little bit too friendly to like their girlfriend, and it's like, no, you should trust your partner that they can have a platonic friend with some like be platonic friends with a woman, and like perhaps she's attractive, like
be aware of red flags obviously, but that doesn't, like, if you trust that person, don't be just, I don't know, I guess it depends. It's a case-to-case situation.
Yeah, but it also doesn't help that men can watch these type of movies and be like, oh no, I can have both. Like I can have a hot girlfriend, but also like have them kind of like quote unquote on. It makes it feel like they have options, even when they're in a committed relationship. And I'm like, I don't like that.
What I did like about When Harry Met Sally though was that like,
I like him when Harry Met Sally.
Oh yeah,
I liked it. It's just like when I was thinking about it in context of this, I was just like, you know.
Okay, yeah. In context of like rom-com tropes, it's like up there with a lot of them. But I think what I liked about it was that like compared to the friend, in the movie there's like Carrie Fisher's character and that other guy, I forgot his name.
Yeah.
Their storyline is very quick. So like they move in together. They meet, they move in together, they get married, and this all happens in like a very short time. Whereas when Harry and Sally, their relationship spans 12 years. And I feel like that was because like in all these other ones, their relationships happen very quickly. They move very quickly. It's something that happens over a short period of time. And I think the reason I like this one was because it's like it happened over years. Yeah. And there's like
it's like a slow burn type of thing.
Yeah.
And they also like get into different relationships
in between, and then they realize, which like I wish it just didn't have the men and women can be friends thing.
Yeah, that's the thing that's holding me back. Is like that his like he was such a like kind of like misogynistic ass character in the beginning. I just couldn't let go of that for some reason.
Because like it didn't seem like he. Like what made him change it? They never showed.
Yeah, there wasn't like a defining moment. It was just kind of. I think actually there was a defining moment. Is when they fucked. Is when he finally realized that no, I actually really like her and I want to be with her, which is.
But then also the way he kind of blamed her.
Yeah.
He was like, what? He was like, you were crying. You were like, Harry, don't leave. And he was like, well, what was I supposed to do? I was like, hello, sir. You have a free will.
Yeah, I'm like, you could have stopped yourself at any moment.
Yeah, weirdo.
It's a very dated like movie though.
It is, yeah.
It's in the 80s, right? Or something?
I don't remember when it came out.
I don't remember.
Still liked it though.
Yeah, I liked it, but like obviously not everything's gonna age well. Like even movies that like are from 5 years ago don't age well. Just like
there are movies that I see like currently in theaters that I'm like, in 2 years this is not gonna be.
But there are moments that do hold up. Just like there's always gonna be flaws.
And I think it's the human moments that hold up, whereas like
it's
the dialogue that isn't holding up.
Because people talk so different nowadays. It's just funny sometimes. I also just wanted to mention like Maid of Honor and like My Best Friend's Wedding, because like I don't know, like I like enjoying them in like a no thoughts had empty way, but then when I think about it, I'm like, you had how many years of friendship and it took to get to the wedding or like get to like the the weeks before the wedding to finally realize that you actually wanted to be with this person. That just does not sit right in my soul.
No.
Like, at all. And I just wanted to, like, get that off my chest.
Okay, I'm glad you got to.
Yeah. Because, yeah, it just perpetuates this idea that, like, straight men, straight women cannot be friends. And, like, I think it perpetuates this idea that you, like, even Harry says this in the movie. He's like, you can't be friends with a girl that you want to fuck or, like, you find as attractive. Or,
like, yeah, when he asked her, he was like, do you have, like, guy friends? And she's like, yeah, I have plenty. And he's like, do they want to have sex with you?
Oh my gosh, this unreleased a memory in my head.
What just happened?
During freshman orientation at my school, we had a night where we went to the Getty Villa in Malibu. Okay. And we had these groups that was like your freshman orientation group. Okay. And we went on the bus, right? And we're all talking. And one of the guys was like, oh, like if I don't want to fuck her, I can't be her friend. And that set me off. I literally was like going off on him. I was like, that's weird. I called him out. I was like, that's fucking weird that you think that. I was like, you can't be friends with any girl that you don't want to fuck. Like, what? I had never heard of that concept before until that guy said that on the bus, and I was like going off, and nobody was backing me up. No one was backing me up. I was like, "Hello, ladies." I was like, do we agree with him, or like what's going on? And I remember like
you're like, "Ladies in the bus, let me hear you." And
yeah. And I was like, it hurt my feelings because I was like, it was like kind of towards the end of. I got so emotional. I ripped out my earring.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on?
So. Yeah, I think it just hurt my feelings because I grown to love these guys like over like it's like kind of like the summer camp experience, like you just bond really like quickly. And so the fact that they said that, I was like, oh, so are we not going to be friends after this? Because I had my own insecurity issues at the time, and we didn't end up being friends after.
But it was probably for the better.
Definitely for the better. But like in the moment in my freshman college mind, I was like, I want to be friends with everybody. Like, why couldn't you want to be friends with everybody? You have to only be friends with girls that you want to fuck. And that it just hurt my feelings. It just like hit like a weird, I don't know what part of my brain it hit, but like you can even ask Darby, like she was on the bus with me and she was like,
I think it's just a weird mentality to have, like, where you're like, oh, this person is attractive. Let's be friends with him, so that maybe at some point we can. Because, like, I don't know. I don't think that's not how. Like,
I don't want to fuck all my friends. Weirdo. That's why you're my friend. Because I don't want to.
That's
fuck.
Literally the whole point. Yeah.
I don't want to be in a relationship with you, so we ended at friendship.
It also reminds me of like growing up. I watched like Wong Fu Productions, and like they have like a psych show like. That they have like called Lunch Break, and they kind of like talked about this in like a really old lunch break, how like men but also women can have like ladders. So like the ladders of like who they see is like the ladder of like who could be a potential like romantic interest, and like the ladder of like who's just like friends and stuff, if that makes sense. So
but also like the way that men treat women that they don't find attractive is disgusting. And I just don't understand why men can only not all men, obviously. A lot of men just can't be nice to people. Like it has nothing to do with their gender. Yeah. Like why can you just be nice? Like why can you only be nice to people that like you want to fuck? Like that just makes
kindness should not be this difficult of a concept.
I know.
To people with grown brains. Like, grow up, weirdos.
Exactly. And like that's why like sometimes like I think that fear is always like in the back of my head. Yeah. And so when I meet like a straight guy, I'm gonna assume that like if they don't talk to me after, it's because they don't find me attractive, and like for some reason that hurts my feelings. But like that's only because I know that a lot of guys can't be friends with girls that they don't find attractive. So it's just like a weird thing. It makes you feel like weird when you're talking to like when you're a girl and you're talking to straight men. It's like, okay, like what are they thinking? Are they analyzing me and like seeing if they want to like what category are they putting me into? And like I shouldn't have to feel that way. Yeah. Nobody should feel that way when you're talking to the other person. You should just be able to talk to that person, like see if you get along with them as friends and like take it from there. Like I don't know why a lot of people put women or whoever they find attractive in those categories. Like it just seems like, are we not beyond that? I think is why I'm like
Right.
struggling to like gather the words to like say that. Like, what? Like, how do we change that brain setting?
I literally don't know.
I don't know. Maybe we just have to make more media of like
Probably.
platonic friends, because honestly, I could not tell you, like, that's another thing is like I cannot tell you a platonic friendship that they had never been a love interest on like any, unless they're brother and sister.
You know who
or
I
cousins
thought,
or related.
Like, I always, like, in my head when I was little, like, I always thought, like, Shaggy and Velma were, like, friends, right? That's how it was. And then Daphne and Freddie were, like, the BFFs.
Yeah.
But then in, like, the newer versions, like, in the original show, they are just friends.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you start getting into the reboots and the remakes and whatever, they always put Shaggy and Velma together. And I was always like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
This relationship doesn't make any sense. You just put them together for the sake of, like,
having everybody boot up.
But that's so dumb when you can introduce so many different love interests to both these people.
Yeah. But I just think that's so weird. And it really does close it off. Like, why can't we just have like a revolving door of like love interest and like, because that's how life is. Like you just kind of like, some people like have a situationship for like a couple of days and then like they're away and they don't ever come back. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
So our last section is relationships over personal growth.
Hello?
Personal growth. So 40-Year-Old Virgin is basically the title. It's like, oh, he's 40 years old and he's like frumpy and he's undesirable. He's undesirable and he needs like a makeover to make him desirable and like life lessons to like make him not be a 40-year-old virgin anymore. To get
pretty straightforward.
Yeah, basically. I haven't watched that movie in a really long time, so I don't really like remember a bunch about it. It just I just remember it making me feel a little bit uncomfortable because it's a little raunchy. It's a little raunchier of a comedy, and I was not ready for that when I was like 10.
You watched it when you were 10?
Yeah, I didn't know.
I mean,
I didn't know what I knew what virginity was, but it didn't really like
register.
Mm-hmm. You know.
Yeah, I haven't seen either of these movies, so I don't have much to add about it.
She added it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think like one of the reasons why I added it kind of goes back to like, if you're older, like, and you're single, you're kind of a loser, but like it does it from like different perspectives. So 40-year-old version from like the male perspective and Bridget Jones' Diary from like the female perspective. And so like one of the things that I noticed in like both in like one of the differences that I noticed in between two movies, like, and at least the 40-year-old version, I feel like they more root for the guy to be in a relationship. Like it's more positive. Meanwhile, in Bridget Jones' Diary, it's like, why aren't you in a relationship yet? Like her family, her like friends are like, they're like, it's more negative for the women to not be, if that makes sense and stuff.
It does, yeah. And I feel like it's a very like misogynistic, like old, like I don't even know what you would call it, but it's like even down to like the wedding toppers where it's like the bride and she's like holding onto the leg of the groom who's running away. Mm-hmm. It's just this weird of like thing of like the male is being trapped.
Yeah.
While like the woman has him trapped, where it's like, that's what's going on there, guys.
Yeah. Like, why are men always like allowed to have like one foot out the door?
Yeah.
Like that is just like, why do we allow that narrative? I do think it is interesting to compare the two because Bridget Jones is definitely more like made out to be like more desperate looking.
Yeah.
And like it. Like the weight of how you feel about both of the main characters is like very different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but they're both very harmful. Cause like for Steve Carell's character, it's like, oh, he's like a joke and like he's like weird and he doesn't fit into like society and like how regular people date. And like that doesn't sit well with me either. Like there's definitely like different types of people in the world and like there's somebody for him. He just doesn't know how to like put himself out there. And it's like it's like making jabs at his masculinity because he doesn't fit into like how these, and like even his character in like Crazy Stupid Love, like the fact that he needs to go to Ryan Gosling's character to like become more manly and more like desirable to like how beauty standards for men are like in that age, like that makes me feel weird. Like it is weird. Why do you need to present younger looking to like be more desirable? Like and it's also I mean in Bridget Jones' Diary it's like that too. So it's like the older you get, the less desirable you are for love.
Yeah.
And like that doesn't sit right with me like at all. Like I don't know.
One thing
Yeah, go ahead.
One thing I will say is, like, I feel like the ending, at least for me, like, for 40-year-old virgin, I feel like it ends more positively, and, like, his friends are, like, more accepting of him, like, towards the end. But, like, one thing I didn't like was, like, kind of what you kind of, like, touched upon it earlier, Kim, but, like, what if he's, like, asexual, and, like, his friends are pushing him to, like, pursue women when that's, like, not his sexuality? Like, why is his friends pushing him to do things when they don't know his sexuality? And like also like in the beginning of the movie, like what if he's content with that life? Like he has a job that supports his hobbies, he's like economical and eco-friendly by like riding a bike everywhere, and so it just like stereotyping that as like oh, that's like not desirable, like that's kind of like why still doing that in your 40s. It
also doesn't allow for people to have different types of like lifestyles.
Yeah.
Like like what if he is content doing it? It's like it's weird because there's like it feels like there's a baseline for like society, and like these like if you're like a little different than everybody else, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's just how he chooses to live his life. And like like maybe he's content with it, like maybe he's not like fucking overjoyed, but like he's like, yeah, this is how I am, and like that's how I live my life. And like the fact that his quote unquote friends are like projecting issues onto him, like that maybe he didn't even realize about it. And that's another thing that I think it's harmful is like some of these movies, like they make it seem like something's wrong with the people. And like that's not the case at all. And like all of these movies are very heteronormative, like heterosexual, and like I mean there's not a lot of LGBTQ representation, but there's literally zero respect for asexual people. There is absolutely zero respect for it's like I don't know why people regard sexuality like why do people like
it's so taboo for no reason.
But also like why are we putting value into it? Because of like because I think that's why a lot of asexual people feel like shunned from society, because it's like, oh, maybe there's just like, how could you not want to fuck somebody? Like there must be something wrong with you that you don't want to like fuck somebody. Like that's just, and that just makes me feel weird. Like I couldn't imagine judging somebody because of like the amount of sex they have or lack of sex that they have. Like
it's like the neighborhood. Exactly.
And like why is that such like a point of topic as well? Like on it, because to be honest, nobody's business. And like I was just talking to you about the other day, there was like a rumor about somebody having a threesome with like celebrities, and I was like, imagine like trying to explore your sexuality and like thinking you have privacy, but then somebody just using it for momentary like TikTok clout.
TikTok is so weird because so many people will put things out there just to get a little
and there's
TikTok.
Like they're missing context from the situation.
Or like that whole thing where someone posted like the Ben Affleck video where he's like, it's me, Ben Affleck. And I was like, really? Like, why'd you post it?
Exactly.
Like, just, I don't know. People will do anything for
like dating is already such like a weird topic, and then like sexuality on top of it. Like, I just don't understand why we're still like shaming people for quote unquote being different. When I think like it's like fake wokeness, honestly. Because it's like, oh, we're in 2021, like we should be accepting of all, but every single like identity has its own biases. You know? Does that make any sense? So I think it could have been like, maybe they should redo 40-Year-Old Virgin where like they where the character is like asexual, and then like it can still be a comedy, but it's just like, because I feel like comedy is a good way to deal with like different sorts of topics and different like untouched type of ground, because you can still keep it lighthearted and stuff. While also like still having like heart at the end of it. So like maybe they could redo it, since we're in the age of reboots, like redoing it where as like Steve Carell's character would be asexual, and like,
and it could be like the friends
and like understanding that, especially because it's like, if you think about it, 40-year-olds now is like our parents' age, And so like our parents like had a hard time like dealing with sexuality and stuff. Like, so it could be like a bigger message. Oh my God, did we unlock something? That could be a really good idea.
Because you even like how now like
coming to terms with sexuality later in life, because you didn't know how to identify it when you were younger. Sexuality was like not even
it was straight or
not.
That was it.
Yeah.
I feel like also kind of going back to his friends, like you kind of touched on it, like I feel like his friends were also just kind of using him to like play out their sexual fantasies and stuff in the movie, because I think even like one of the guys was like using like pushing him to like go into these like fast like speed dating things like as a way to like cheat on his girlfriend. And it's kind of like how like people were like Andy's friends in Devil Wears Prada are like trash. It's like Andy's friends in The 40-Year-Old Virgin are trash because they're just using him to like play out their own like pleasures and things. So yeah,
I think 40-Year-Old Virgin deserves a reboot, honestly. Like I really do, because like I think it could be spinned into like a better message,
especially one about sexuality and like it could be like a late coming of age movie, which is
I think we do need more like later coming of age movies, because I think I said it before, like you come to age in every decade of your
life.
Have
a new age every year, so like
exactly
can't come to age
like
only
even
once.
like 6 months you can change as a person. Like it's crazy. And then like Bridget Jones' Diary, I think it is interesting to compare about them, because they both, it's weird because they could be making like bigger commentaries, but because it's like a romantic comedy, you can't like really go there. You know what I mean? Have you watched like the new version? Has it changed? I think it'd be interesting to like,
but it's the same actress, so it might be a sequel.
I know, but I'm saying like because it was like recent, like maybe they're like maybe rewriting the wrongs or like taking like a more progressive take on the situation, you know? So we can't really compare it to that since like none of us have seen it. So something to think about. But I do think it's weird that we put all of these ideas upon each gender. You know? And I think it is harmful, and like allowing, like I guess like also like another topic we talk about is like sex positivity. And sex positivity isn't the definition that everybody thinks of as like, sex is good. No, sex positivity is like allowing people to like be very sex progressive, but also like if they don't want to have sex and they want to be celibate, that's totally valid too. Like it's just like coming from a place of like just hearing the person out and not having the judgment placed upon them, no matter what romantic path they take or non-romantic path, or like however they like look at relationships and love and life. I think a lot of more people, because like when you have your ideas of like how you want it, I feel like sometimes you project it onto other people. And like I think we now need to get into a headspace of like allowing people to say their piece and like just sitting upon it. You don't need to like react to what they say to you now, because especially if it's like the first case of it, like first like exposure you're getting to whatever they're saying, like it is going to be jarring at first, because you're like like getting new information from anything is like you need to like sit with it, and like maybe if we had more time to sit with it, we would be more accepting of others. I think that's a good way to end it. Period.
You being so proud of yourself for but I think overall,
sometimes we need to be proud of ourselves when we end up.
What did we learn in class? I think
one thing, like this is like related to like the topic, but like in watching some of these movies, I just realized how racist like the 2000s movies are, because there's always like one side character that is like a race stereotype, and I'm like, and it's just like wild to me, because I'm like, that wasn't that long ago. Like
none of the main characters in any of the movies talked about are people of color.
No, they're all white.
All of them are
but
white.
I'm pretty sure we all went into this knowing that's how it was going to be. There's like rom-coms are literally a white,
and we're also viewing this from like, this is like from a very like Gen Z perspective, I feel like, because this is like what we grew up watching. Like people that are like perhaps younger in Gen Z or like older in Gen Z, like people younger in Gen Z, I don't really know what rom-coms they're watching nowadays, because it's all like Netflix shit, and I don't really watch Netflix.
It's definitely going to be like To All the Boys and all that kind of stuff.
So it'll be interesting to see how each generation takes their rom-coms. Because they do have more effect than like what people write them off as.
Yeah.
So,
Fair.
yeah.
Anyway, guys, that was our episode for today. Ashley, where can people find you or any future projects that you'll be working on?
Let me just pull it up. But anyone can find me. I just on my Instagram, like Ashley Pineda. I don't have any future projects coming up right now, but yeah, just follow me there.
Yeah, in the future. And then all of this information will be on our Instagram as well. We do a guest spotlight every week. So if you want to keep up with Ashley and whatever she does in the future, you can always find that on our Instagram at our.hollywood. But yeah, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Ashley, for spending your morning with us. And we'll see you guys next week.